Good morning. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn Griffin. Coming up on the program today, Jeshaun Jones is going to join us. I know we on Friday we promised Jason Stark. Unfortunately, had a last-minute thing pop up, so we'll try to catch up with him later this week. Jeshaun Jones, former Maryland wide receiver. Talk to him about his time in College Park and his preparations. He tries to find his way to hearing his name in the NFL draft. Catch up with the Orioles VP of Public Affairs, Kerry Watson. Jeremy Conn joins us as he does on a Monday. Really it really struck me. And look, I hope that it was a gutty win for Towson yesterday. I hope that they pull off a win. It's just glaring. Like in this area where we have no NBA, no NHL team, it's just glaring how difficult it is, how little there is for people to truly get excited about in March when the NCAA tournament isn't much of a factor. I mean, I'm sort of specifically calling out Maryland basketball, obviously, because they're the only team in the area that's ever going to make like a deep run in the NCAA tournament and get people truly fired up. Although it would be fun if like we had genuine faith in some of these other teams just to get there. Like again, who knows? Who knows? Maybe Towson shocks Charleston tonight.
Mount St. Mary's goes on a run here.
Yeah, I mean that's not. Unfortunately, Mount St. Mary's isn't a Baltimore team either. Like it's not. You just don't have a big alumni base or anybody that cares all that much. And I'm not saying I'm rooting against them. I hope they do, but it's just not going to galvanize anybody on the local front. I didn't even have a thought, like not even a thought to put the Maryland game on last night. I watched the soccer, 100%, watched all of it, start to finish. Despite the fact that Paramount Plus sucks. God. Paramount Plus is dreadful. Like, I do not know what's going on over there, but I'll at least give them this much credit. At least ABC is partners with Disney, which has two different streaming apps. They have Disney Plus and they have Hulu. And yet, the Academy Awards were on none of them. The soccer match ended. I'm like, I guess I'll flip over, watch the end of the Academy Awards. And it was on a third app. There's an ABC app.
Is it really? I didn't
like
know.
we Man, I know that I'm sitting here. Look, hi, Glenn Clark. I do this Glenn Clark radio thing. I get there's a reason why I'm here and I'm not an executive or some big wig anywhere else. But Jesus, man. Like, what are we doing? You're asking people to have 80 apps. It's way over the top. ABC is owned by who?
Bob Iger.
I've got that app. Put it on that one. It's insanity, man. It's utter insanity. Anyway, I watched 20 seconds of the Academy Awards. I did watch the Ryan Gosling thing, which was fun. That was fun as hell. Loved that.
That one I guess I didn't see.
No, it was awesome. He
Okay.
was singing "I'm Just Ken," and they did a whole
really
production out of it. It was awesome.
Should have won Best Song.
I don't even know who. I'm guessing
the
Billie
Eilish.
I assume the Billie Eilish thing won. I wish Billie Eilish did something. Like I really like the idea of Billie Eilish. She seems cool. I just none of her music has ever done a thing for me. Like I've never heard a Billie Eilish song where I was like, man, that's a game changer. Like they just all kind of exist. But she seems like great, and I like the idea of someone with talent because I do. I think she's talented. It's just the songs thing. Like again, it might be that I'm old, and like maybe all the kids are like, yeah, you don't understand. Like this, it's fine. It's fine. Just doesn't do it. Anyway, I watched the soccer. I enjoyed the soccer. The soccer was wonderful. Of course, the U.S. win 1-0 over Brazil. Really spectacular, a sublime goal that Lindsey Horan scored late in the first half. On a header that ended up being the difference. Alyssa Nair was excellent throughout the course of the tournament. It's been a weird year, obviously, for the U.S. women, like a really weird year. And, like, as low of a moment as it was for them crashing out of the World Cup last year, like, the way that they lost in this tournament to Mexico was just as low, if not in some ways lower. But they bounced back nicely, had a really gutty week, and they ended up winning this Gold Cup. So they got that going for them, which is a good start. Long way to go as they get ready for the Olympics this summer. We'll see how everything plays out. All right, a lot to do, as I mentioned on the show, a lot to cover as well from the weekend. Today's show is brought to you by, this one's brought to you by Superbook, superbook.com. Download the Superbook app. Use the code GlennClark23. When you sign up, you'll receive up to $250 in a same-day first bet match. Win or lose from Superbook. I don't think the Orioles are up yet for today. Unfortunately not. But if you want to bet Towson tonight, 6-point dogs against Charleston in the CAA semifinals. I would not bet Towson myself. Legitimately would not.
I was very happy that they got revenge against Wilmington yesterday.
It was a heck of an effort. But playing a third game in 3 days against a
definitive
Charleston
best team in the conference.
And it was not tested yesterday whatsoever. Like, was able to put some guys on the bench at the end of the game. Like, look, anything can happen. It's March, the whole deal. It's, you know what I mean? I get it. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying if you told me I had to bet Towson to cover, I would say I don't think I will. No, I'd be Captain America at the end of Endgame. No, I don't think I will.
So you're betting on Charleston?
I mean, what I would really say is I probably wouldn't bet this because I wouldn't want to bet against. Like, there would be no fun in that. So right. I wouldn't bet this is what I would do. But if you told me I had to bet one way or the other, yeah, I'd bet Charleston to cover the 6. But I hope I'm wrong. And I hope that Towson is gearing up for a CAA tournament title game tomorrow night. We will see how it all plays out. But if you're going to bet it with Superbook and use that code GlennClark23. So a couple of things that stand out from the weekend. One, I will have a column coming today at Pressbox. It's just I don't even feel like there's a hot take to be had about Jackson Holliday and making the Major League roster, but it was weird to me. I thought we were all working under the assumption that Jackson Holliday was on the roster on opening day, but it seemed like last week, as we had different guests on the show, people were like, I'm starting to think he's going to be on the roster. I'll just go ahead and give it away, and then I'll ask you to click on the column anyway, just because, you know, we're all in this thing together. What's good for me is good for me. So the Orioles didn't really do anything in the offseason that would suggest that they didn't think Jackson Holliday was going to be on this team on opening day. That's the part that was most glaring to me. They didn't go out and get a qualified Major League infielder. They got Nick Maton. I couldn't tell you.
Maton. I'm rolling Maton.
By all means, you have no idea if it's right or not, but you're just saying something. I give you that. They got Colton Wong after spring training had already started, who, again, isn't even as close to Major League caliber as the last two dudes that weren't good. Rougned Odor and Adam Frazier had played full seasons as starting Major League infielders the last couple of seasons before they joined that Colton Wong was not that last year. The days of him being a starter, an everyday player, are over. That's why he was still available and was willing to sign a minor league deal after spring training had began because he knew there's no chance of this. The Orioles kind of said it out loud. We are operating under the assumption that Jackson Holliday is going to be the guy. They told you based on the moves they didn't make. And again, it's one thing if you're going to be a bad baseball team and you say, well, we'll let Nick Maton and Ramon Urias, you're going to let those guys run around. Jorge Mateo can play. If you're going to be a bad team, by all means. But the Orioles are they just went and traded for Corbin Burns. They're trying to win a World Series. They didn't make their moves, or lack thereof, out of the idea that this season doesn't matter, so if Jackson Holliday's not there, who cares? We'll just let some other slappy run around. They told you, based on the moves they didn't make, their intent was for Jackson Holliday to be their opening day second baseman. And it's also, I think we need to talk more about how impactful the PPI program has been. That the Orioles absolutely were at the forefront of teams that were always going to leave their guys down to try to manipulate service time. It was the story of the Orioles. You could bank on it. They were going to leave their guys down. And frankly, it was bad business. We didn't like talking about it because it felt antithetical to the concept of baseball. But it was bad business. Why would you bring someone up early when A, your team's not that good, it's not going to make a difference, and B, it could cost you a year of service time? The rules were set up quite poorly. We don't like talking about all of the positive impacts that Rob Manfred has had on baseball because it requires us to acknowledge that Rob Manfred might have positive impacts on baseball.
No.
We don't like doing this. But as we've talked about some of the things they've done in game, the PPI program has proven to be very impactful. The 31st and 32nd picks in this year's MLB draft will both be because teams put their talented young players on the roster on opening day last year, and those players turned into the Rookie of the Year winners. That's gold. There's almost no reason at this point, if you have this type of prospect. To be clear, this doesn't guarantee that Colton Cowser or Heston Kjerstad is going to be on the roster on opening day. One of them still very well could begin the season in Norfolk. And I guess technically could still win Rookie of the Year. But when you have this type of prospect, it behooves you. Technically, the rule is if they're up within 2 weeks of opening day. But that's not enough to manipulate service time, so there's no reason to leave them down. The PPI program has done wonders, and it's not just for Rookie of the Year. It goes beyond that. It goes into the MVP category as well. So if Jackson Holliday comes up, plays the whole season, and finishes 5th in Rookie of the Year voting, right? Like, has a good season, but, just doesn't get...
Not a finalist is...
Yeah, he's 4th or he's 5th in Rookie of the Year voting. But next year, he lights the world on fire, and in 2025, let's even go in 2026, he finishes 3rd in MVP voting. By virtue of the Orioles putting him on the opening day roster this year, they'll recoup a draft pick for him finishing 3rd in MVP voting in his 3rd Major League season just by putting him on the opening day roster this year. Now, I say he goes ahead and wins MVP this year. In favor.
Guess I'll root for that, too.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. He's the greatest baseball player in the history of baseball. But there's just no reason for the Orioles to not have him here. The only thing, and this is why to me it was kind of odd that it became such a talking point, I don't overreact to anything about the spring. I was reminded yesterday that apparently Corbin Burns' numbers have stunk in the spring. Don't care.
They don't care either.
He's the opening day starter. And I'm starting the Burns unit. We're all going to go sit in our scrubs and watch baseball games. And I don't know why everybody's not on board with that. It's very weird to me. We're going to go cosplay as doctors and nurses, and we're going to get some orange scrubs, and we're going to start the Burns unit, and we're going to have fun at baseball games this summer because that's what you do when you have an ace. You go have some fun with it. You put on costumes. You dress up. This shouldn't even be for me. This should be for other people. I can't believe I'm the one that's got to be the one to suggest it. Stupids. I don't even like doing this type of stuff. This is supposed to be for other people. But by all means, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. Not everybody can see my art. Life goes on.
It's a thankless job what you're doing.
It's insane. I throw out this idea. So I don't know about, like a burn unit isn't such great. I'm like, we're not going to be in a burn unit. We're going to be in the burns unit. There's no
with an E.
We're not making fun of people who are dealing with burns. Like, what is this? We're not suggesting you go dress up and put fake burns on your body. No.
Maybe be a little more patient.
It's not that deep. It's just not this deep. We've lost. I really am convinced that we are hopeless in this country. Like, no, the only thing we know how to do is how to say no to something. I don't know about that one. That's all we know.
This for Wednesday.
It's all we know how to do. What's wrong in this country? It's all we know how to do is say no. There are some things we need to say no to. I had to shut Drew down when he was being insane about 9-year-olds getting.
We can shut Drew down about a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things. He's an idiot sometimes. I had to do that, but this is not one of them. The joke isn't on the people that get burnt. Love you if you're dealing with burns in your life. Also love if you're dealing with Corbin burns in your life. We're going to go dressed as doctors, heroes. We're going to celebrate them and Corbin Burns. It's not that deep.
Guess just give it time. We'll
God. Thank you to my buddy Keith. Reached out and was like, I get it. I'm like, thank you. I don't know why it's that hard. It's just not. Whatever. It's not going to happen because clearly I'm introducing something that's avant-garde. Play on somebody's name. What a crazy thought process. We can bring There's no reason why we're bringing gas cans to Grayson Rodriguez games.
We're gassing up Grayson.
Great, wonderful. We can gas up anybody.
So there's the order. You start with
gas
Grayson,
up anyone.
Grayson gasses up the fire, and then Burns is right after. He pitches the next day, and everyone's
we go the other way around though. Burns is going to be the opening day starter. Grayson's going to pitch after him.
I'm saying
so that math isn't going to work.
We'll manipulate the rotation. Once the season
okay,
starts.
that's your plan.
Yes,
I'm glad we've got a plan.
Someone does, yeah.
Sorry, I get very frustrated by these things.
Well, I guess you're just gonna have to come up with something better.
I was no, I'm not. I'm out. I did my part. Y'all are on your own. Jesus. Enjoy you having water in your grundle as you walk around at baseball games because you're sitting in the splash zone. Can do a splash zone. That's okay. People drown sometimes. Not funny to some people. Can't do a Burns unit because I give up.
Yeah, that's what we all come in with matches. Every time he gets a strikeout, light a match.
What?
You burn the guy.
All right.
I thought you
giving up.
Just said we're not saying no to
giving
everything.
up. No. Not saying no to things that we don't need to say no to. There are some things we need to say no to.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit.
Pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
We're just lighting people on fire at baseball games?
I didn't say anything
You think
about
that would be hilarious?
People on fire.
Just burning them.
No.
Well, what are we doing with the match? So what are we doing with the match?
The batter was burned.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. So that's stupid.
Really?
Yeah, that's
stupid.
That's stupid. We're going to honor heroes. I don't know what the hell just happened here. I give up. I give up on I blame Maryland basketball for all of this. For all of it. My point being, I'm just not worked up about the fact that Corbin Burns' numbers aren't good in spring training. It's spring training. I don't care. And in the same way, Jackson Holiday hitting a grand slam yesterday and having really good numbers, to me, does not do anything. My predetermined notions are what I'm going to base everything off of. The only thing to me that was going to alter that was if it was utterly disastrous. Frankly, the way that it was for Grayson Rodriguez last year, and remember, he wasn't going to be in the rotation if not for who got hurt last year.
Was it Bradish that comebacker? That
maybe that was what it was. He was not going to be in the rotation. He only was starting at the beginning of the year last year because somebody got hurt. To me, the Jackson Holiday story was always going to be that he was going to be on the team, to me, on opening day, short of it just being a disaster. I add in the final piece of the only real, relevant argument that someone could make is the argument that what happens to his psyche, what does this do if he's just simply not ready? Well, I would say two things. If they, in their dealings with Jackson Holliday, find themselves saying he does not have the mentality yet to be a major leaguer, then they shouldn't do this. But literally nothing that we have seen would suggest that's the case. And as I've said before, and I wish I could remember, I wrote this, I feel like it was Andy McPhail who told me this, but it's possible it wasn't. It's possible I was talking to Jim Duquette. Over the years, this quote has stuck with me, and I've said it a few times. I said it on the show last week. A former, executive, I once ran the idea by them of, hey, what do you worry at all about somebody getting called up too early and what it might do to them if they struggle and you've got to send them back down? And the response that I got was, if that is what's going to break them, then something else was going to break them. If that crushes your psyche so much that you can't handle it, then it was just going to be something else. Something was always going to break you. This is baseball. The greatest players of all time fail more than they succeed. Position player-wise. We celebrate that. We celebrate someone who gets out significantly more than they get hits. Greatest players of all time. If coming up, struggling, and getting sent down, which is possible. We nearly got there with Gunnar Henderson a year ago. We were all talking about it. If that is going to crush Jackson Holliday, then the point, and again, I think it was Andy McPhail, but I just don't want to say that because I can't say it with certainty. That point becomes relevant. If this was going to crush you, then something else was going to crush you. You were at risk of getting crushed. Something else could do it. So we can't make those decisions based on the idea that this one unique thing might be the thing that does it. Because if it's not this, imagine if it's something else. What if for Jackson Holliday it had been not playing shortstop? That was the trigger. They couldn't worry about that. Imagine if the Orioles said, we can't put Jackson Holliday on this team because we're not ready to have him be the shortstop. And if he's not playing shortstop, it just might crush his psyche. They had to believe that he was strong enough to handle that. They got to believe that he's strong enough. Tim Kirkshin brought it up when we talked to him on Friday. Alex Rodriguez got caught up, struggled, had to go back down, and he turned out to be Alex Rodriguez. Scummy guy. Hell of a baseball player. You deal with that. If that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. Does any of us think that if Gunnar Henderson had been sent back down at the end of May last year, that it would have wrecked him? I don't. Grayson Rodriguez got sent back down. He was okay. He was down for a while, frankly. It wasn't just a quick reset. He was down for the better part of the season. These things happen. It's part of the game. So I just don't think it's all that controversial. I don't think it's all that bombastic. I think the Orioles tried to tell you. And yeah, I get that it seems a bit crazy because it's only 54 games above single A. There's really among prominent Orioles rock stars, I don't know who's comparable because Gunnar played more than twice as many games. Even Manny Machado, who never played at AAA at all, played twice as many games, just at the AA level. It's a crazy thought that someone could play that few games above single A and you say, okay, they're ready. But, you know, he's the number 1 overall pick. Like, it's a little bit different. And everything else sets up for there's no reason for him. No reason. If the plan was he was going to be up in June anyway, and you think he has a real shot at being the Rookie of the Year or top 3 finisher in votes, then you'd want him to be here on opening day to try to recoup that draft pick. The significance of that rule is almost overwhelming. And like it or not, we have to credit the commissioner for that. There was a day where this would never happen. It would be preposterous. We'd be screaming about it too. Before that rule is put into place, this would be very controversial. I think maybe part of it is that we haven't adjusted to this life, this PPI world, and we're still used to there being debates about whether or not guys are going to be on the opening day roster. Guys are going to be on the opening day roster.
Still feels weird that you can benefit, I guess, from
What?
having these guys up.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, we've been so used to it being the exact opposite that it was a penalty for a team to bring a guy up on opening day. We've been so conditioned for that like now we're just not ready to say, like, of course they're going to be here on opening day. But based on the rules, of course they're going to be here on opening day. I don't have any inside information. This is not me telling you so-and-so told me this. This is me saying that reading all of the tea leaves, it's the only thing that makes sense. And if he struggles, it'll be okay. Gunnar Henderson struggled. They wrote it out. If he struggles to a point where defensively, because that was the one difference, right? Like, Gunnar was still getting the job done defensively. And every time we talk to somebody like, hey, do they have to make an awkward decision about Gunnar? The same thing was said. If it got to the point where he couldn't do it defensively, then yes. If that's the case with Jackson Holiday, then you send him down. It'll be okay. It'll be all right. But if he really might be this good this quickly, there's just no debate to be had here. There is no reason outside of, sheer fear of the number 54 games. Like, well, you just got to play more. Do you? For what reason?
Right, and I mean, to your point, like, like Manny Machado, it worked out, and Julio Rodriguez, and like, if these guys
how many
are
games?
that good,
That's a good comparison, because Julio Rodriguez was on the opening day roster. How many games did Julio Rodriguez play?
I know he didn't play AAA. Like, I think he skipped AAA.
But it's still, that part of it, it's still a sheer how many. Hang on a second. Julio Rodriguez played at AA. He played 46 games, so that's a great comparison. Julio Rodriguez played a total of 46 games above the single-A level. But the Mariners, acknowledging the value of the PPI program, put him on the opening day roster, and they got an early draft pick because of it. The PPI program has changed everything. There is no debate any longer. Like, you're talking about the 32nd pick in the draft. What was Gunnar Henderson in the draft? Remind me.
3 or 4?
Something. It's right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're talking about. The opportunity to get a Gunnar Henderson simply because you put the player on the roster that you think is going to be there anyway.
It was 42.
Jesus. I guess there were still probably some kind of compensatory picks at the end of the first round. And you get my point. It's such a potential benefit that it's crazy at this point to not put them on the roster on opening day. It would be reckless. How silly would you feel if you brought Jackson Holiday up in June or Memorial Day and he set the world on fire, won Rookie of the Year, and at the end of the year you're like, oh yeah, well, we could have had an extra draft pick, but we just sort of, we didn't need that. It's nuts. It's nuts. Of course he's going to be on the team. Real quick on Russell Wilson going to the Steelers. I'm glad it's not Justin Fields. I got to be honest with you, man. I said what I said last week, and I'll stand by all of it. Me personally, I don't think Russell Wilson is as dynamic anymore as Justin Fields is. And I get it. Justin Fields is not a complete, he is still, and I'm surprised that the trade market has cratered for Justin Fields. I'll never understand what the Atlanta Falcons are doing as a franchise. Like, I'm starting to think that whole thing might be a money laundering scam.
They're probably trying to win, I think. Right?
Like, with what?
With Kyle Pitts
and
that running back that they don't give the ball to.
Right, and
Drake London, who they also don't give the ball to.
Right,
I guess they don't give the ball to Kyle Pitts either. So.
Right, and how are they trying to win?
Nice stadium.
I mean, I guess I haven't been there yet. So it seems nice.
I know they got a Chick-fil-A in there, and
yeah, but they can't open on
that's
Sunday.
True. Yeah, that's right.
So like, what's the point?
Well, they got Atlanta United.
I did go to a Thursday night game at the old Georgia Dome once, so I try to think if they were actually. It might have not even involved Chick-fil-A because I was working. Moral of the story being, like, I can't believe they went through this, got burned by it. The cost ain't going to be 2 first-round picks. Like, it ain't going to cost you 2 first-round picks for Justin Fields, and they're still just sort of like,
They might get Kirk,
Maybe. Like, this thing where the NFL is afraid of someone who has running ability at the quarterback position it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing. And probably could be the next chapter in John Eisenberg's Rocket Man book. Is it possible those Warren Sharp numbers that I shared last week about Russell Wilson only throwing the ball inside of 5 yards? Is it possible that
like he was constrained by the offense?
But that's the only time he's played well. I get it. The Steelers are going to be competitive kind of no matter who their quarterback is. They are so well coached, and they have enough defensively, and they run the ball. The Steelers are going to be competitive even if they have the crap quarterbacks they've had. So, like, Russell Wilson's presence alone, they were always going to be a 7-10 win team. So it's not like Russell Wilson. They're going to lose. They're going to go 4-13 with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. He can't screw that up. They have a system that is so consistent. I have to assume they're going to figure out a way to win at least 7 games. But I just don't know that I can believe that Russell Wilson is that dynamic anymore. Is it possible that they were doing this despite the fact that it wasn't the best way to use Russell Wilson? I guess. Does it seem likely? No. It seems more like they watched Russell Wilson the year before, realized he just kind of doesn't have it to throw the ball downfield anymore. And again, his story was never about the strength of his arm. The story of Russell Wilson was his precision, right? That he was the guy that could put the ball into these absurd spots. And we would always go to the stats where there was a 1.1% chance of
the commercial they always play.
Correct. The NFL
2% per chance.
Correct. All of that. But that was Russell Wilson. Now he's 35. And he still has plenty of escapability. He's not the downfield dynamic runner that he was, but he still has plenty of escapability. But does he have the strength to make the throws anymore? I don't know. I get it. 35's not 40. This isn't like final season Peyton Manning where he literally could not throw the football, and yet they won the Super Bowl anyway, which is eternally the most hilarious thing that's ever happened. I'll never get it. Peyton Manning was one of the great quarterbacks of an era. The 2 Super Bowls he won were some of his worst performances ever. It'll go down as one of the great conundrums in football history. He was great, except for when he was winning the Super Bowls. Then he was, in one case, pedestrian, in the other case, awful. Incapable of playing the position. And he won a Super Bowl. It's the damnedest thing. I'll laugh about that until I'm dead. It is the funniest. You will try to explain that to your children one day. Peyton Manning was a great player. Oh, how good was he when he won the Super Bowl? Not at all.
Yeah, the old neck thing,
physically incapable of playing the position any longer.
He could turn his head, but
what? What? No, he couldn't. He couldn't throw the ball. And they won the Super Bowl? Yeah, well, it had to be a bad era for... No, it was a golden era of quarterback play. What? I don't know either. I'll never be able to explain it. It's the weirdest thing that ever happened in football history. I'm not suggesting that Russell Wilson is that.
I'm intrigued by it just because, I mean, Arthur Smith has never had a quarterback, like in his, at least while he's been an offensive coordinator.
I hear you. I hear you. But
so,
I mean, I don't know that means that there's some I don't know. I don't know how much. I mean this with all. I don't know how much better at this point Russell Wilson is than Marcus Mariota when he was the Titans quarterback. I don't. I know that he has been much better than that. I understand it. I don't know.
I'm just not willing to, make that bet that Russell Wilson is suddenly Marcus Mariota. I mean, I guess it's not sudden, but,
It's not sudden.
It's
That's
now
the
Marcus
thing.
Mariota.
Like,
permanently.
The guy 2 years ago, Marcus Mariota, was definitively better than that guy. The guy last year was better, but he was better because they stopped throwing the football down the field. So I don't know what to do with that. And it's why, again, I had some fear of the Steelers with Justin Fields. Like, I had boy, they could be special, and this could be a real problem. Russell Wilson, it's more like, I think he's a slightly better version of what they've been working with. Obviously, he's better than Kenny Pickett, but that's because, Griffin is better than Kenny Pickett. Maybe.
When it comes to the fourth quarter, maybe I'll
that's
Kenny.
True. Kenny Pickett did have.
He's a gamer.
He certainly had that moxie, didn't he? It wasn't very good, but boy, did he have moxie. All right. Of course, the tampering window underway today in the NFL, which is also hilarious that we have to go through this charade where guys are doing deals, but, they're not real. It's the most bizarre effing thing. It's so bizarre. Glad the Ravens got the thing done with Justin Madubuike. That's, of course, very good
Thank
news.
God they got it done before Saturday night.
Why specifically?
Chris Jones made
$32
million.
An absurd amount of money. Yeah, it's crazy how much money he. But I mean, he's Chris Jones. I don't think you can even consider Chris Jones a defensive tackle.
I guess, yeah. But would that have made?
But it's weird. Still, we still haven't seen the Ravens announce anything else. We still haven't seen any other.
I mean, well, now they can do it whenever, right? They don't have to get under.
Well, but if they want to be involved with the early stages of free agency,
they
still have.
They ever?
You say that, but if they're going to be in on this running back market, the way that people are talking about them being, ESPN,
I just don't buy it. Not buy
ESPN added another report this
Did they
weekend
really?
that the Ravens are a front runner for Saquon Barkley. What? There is a lot going on there. It's weird, man. It's so weird. It's weirder that in some of these cases they're obvious moves. I know Tyus Bowser talked to Aaron Wilson at some event down in Houston yesterday, and brought up that they now know more about what was going on with his knee, that he had to have it drained, and that he feels confident that he's going to be able to play this season. And as I've said before, if I'm the Ravens, as much as everyone else has said, just cut Tyus Bowser, I keep screaming
Would
this.
there be some sort of restructure or?
Yes.
Okay.
I've said it a billion times. It's very obvious. Somebody's going to count $1.5 million money in dead cap against you next year that likely has little to no free agent market. This isn't hard. You go back and you say, hey, bud, we're going to have you back next year for $1.5 million.
More than what
Russell
Russell
Wilson's
Wilson's
getting
getting paid by the Steelers.
Yeah, that's correct. I think it's $2 million in dead cap space.
We're
going to have you back for $2 million, and we're going to save $5.5 million in that process. And if he says no, you say, cool, we're still going to save the $5.5 million in the process. Then we release you. But I don't know why, again, unless the situation is so poisoned, there's such a lack of trust between Tyus Bowser and the Ravens that he says, I don't care if I've got to go, be the 80th man on somebody else's, roster in the summer, I'm going to be somewhere else. Unless that's where we're at, there's no reason to when we do this breathless, we'll just release him. Right? Why? And nobody can follow that up. But this is what we do, right? We're the dumbest of the dumb. He didn't want to play last year. Really? That's really what you think? Legitimately?
It was the best team in one of the Ravens' history. One of the best teams.
I'm sure he didn't want to be a part of that. I'm sure he would have hated being on the football field. And that you're not just a mouth breather. I get it. I'm confused. And if you think you're confused, hello. Hello. Hi, Glenn Clark here. Jesus. It's not hard. You go to him, you say, You're going to count $2 million against cap and dead space? Play for $2 million next year and get it done. And it's weird that that's here we are, and we don't know that that's happened. Like, they have to, restructures have to go on the NFLPA record too. So we would know. It's very weird. Very, very weird. All right, when we come back in, we're going to chat with Jeshaun Jones, former University of Maryland wide receiver. He's getting ready for trying to hear his name called in the NFL draft. Today's show brought to you by Atman's Deli. We are so fired up about the new Atman's Deli in Harbor Point. My word. I've told you a few times, I've been an Atman's fan for eternity, it feels like. I've been to Atman's a million times in my life, and I've never been able to talk about how much I enjoy Atman's. I heard a rumor that they might be celebrating St. Patrick's Day with us later this week. Ooh. I'm really excited about that. Really excited about some corned beef. Maybe this Friday in studio. Oh, that'd be wonderful. Love Atman's. If you're craving that classic New York deli experience, you look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and they've got something different at this Atman's because they've got a bar. Atman's Harbor Point. Go to atmansdeli.com for daily specials. It's a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hungry? With 7 locations throughout Maryland, Glory Days Grill is always right around the corner. They have wings, burgers, salads, sandwiches, and drinks to satisfy everyone, as well as tons of televisions and sound delivered right to your phone. Glory Days is the best place to watch football or whatever your favorite sport is. While you're there, be sure to check out Goose Flight's Lager, named in honor of legendary Raven Tony Goose Siragusa. $2 of every can is donated to the Goose Flights Foundation. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door. Just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code GlennClark23, GLENNCLARK23. So bet with the best and use the promo code GlennClark23 this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
6 chicken tenders made from fresh, never frozen Royal Farms world-famous chicken, a family-sized order of Western fries, honey mustard dipping sauce, and a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It's Royal Farms' new Tucker's Tenders Meal. It's Justin Tucker's favorite, and at only $19.99, it'll be your favorite meal, too. The new Tucker's Tenders Meal, available only at Royal Farms. Now you can kick back, relax, and eat like a champion. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Jeremy Conn here. The ultimate sports betting experience in Maryland is at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook. Join me at either location in Canton or in Towson and place your bets in person and be a part of the action. It's the best in-class sports wagering experience, complete with the ultimate TV package, ensuring you can catch every game all day, every day. Their state-of-the-art facilities bring Las Vegas energy right here to Maryland just in time for postseason football. So visit the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook in Canton and Towson and elevate your game day experience and hang out with me to bet, watch, and win at the Turtle.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Back in here on GCR, the state high school basketball playoffs continue through championship weekend. This weekend in College Park. We'll be talking about it more tomorrow morning on County Sports Zone Radio here on GCR. And you can continue to find the latest scores, the updated brackets, all of the matchups for championship week when you go to countysports.zone. That's countysports.zone. It's brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. We'd do this a little bit earlier on because of his busy workout schedule, but one of our favorites back on the show as he gets ready for the NFL draft, former Maryland wide receiver Jeshaun Jones here on GCR. Man, it's great to catch up with our next guest here on GCR. He has had quite the career at the University of Maryland. A lot of highs, obviously some adversity that he's had to fight through, and now he's getting ready for the NFL draft. He is former Terps wide receiver Jeshaun Jones, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Jeshaun, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's always good to catch up, man. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely, dude. It's been a while, right? So when I say former Terps wide receiver, that's still got to feel a little bit weird for you, given how long you've been hanging around in College Park, right?
Yeah, man, it definitely feels weird hearing that. I actually didn't catch it until you just pointed it out. It does feel weird having to have that former in front of it.
Jeshaun, there's so much to talk to you about. Like I mentioned, all of the highs during your career, all of the adversity that you've gone through. How do you describe your journey? I mean, you went through the coaching change. You went through, a really difficult period in Maryland football history and tragedy, and you got to experience the highs of like big bowl game wins. How do you describe what your time in College Park has meant to you?
Oh man, overall, I have to say it was a great experience. Everything wasn't always the best, and just having to fight through that and learn like everything isn't always peach and cream. Everything's not always good. So you just got to fight through those things. And I've dealt with, like you mentioned a couple of things. I've dealt with some tough things at Maryland, and I mean, of course, I would like to change some things, but like I feel like those situations and circumstances kind of made me who I am today, and made me to the man and football player I am today. So I'm thankful for the experience. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
I feel like what you're alluding to is what I think about as, here you are going overlooked, right? Like going into this NFL draft process. How much does having gone through everything that you went through at Maryland, all of the adversity that you faced, how much does that help you as you know once again in your life nothing is going to be promised to you as you make this jump to playing pro football?
I think it helps me a lot, man. I think I've been through a lot of things that a lot of guys in my position haven't been through.
Yeah.
And just having that and having been through that and kind of knowing how to handle those things and how to navigate through the adversity and tough times, I feel like it'll help me a lot.
He is Jeshaun Jones. He's with us here on GCR. Jeshaun, wait, as you, again, reflect back, and then we're going to look forward, the best thing that you learned during these years at Maryland about yourself, about the game, about what it takes to be a pro, what's the one best thing that you learned during your time at Maryland?
I mean, this may sound cliche, man, but I would have to say just control what you can control. I mean, and everything happens for a reason. I mean, you may not understand, you may not like what happens, but everything happens for a reason or rhyme or reason, and everything will work out exactly how it's supposed to, man. I never thought I'd be in school for 6 years, and Here I am 6 years and about to be 3 degrees in, and with the opportunity to play at the next level, I never would have thought I would have had 3 degrees or a shot at 3 degrees. But here I am today, and with doing that and having the opportunity to play at the next level, man, I feel like I can't really lose in this situation.
I'm actually fascinated because I don't know run me down the 3 degrees. What did you end up getting and in what?
My undergrad is in criminal justice.
Okay.
And my first master's is in technology entrepreneurship, and I'm taking one class right now that I'll finish up in May, and that'll be in public leadership, safety, and administration.
Wow.
And that'll be another master.
So, are we going to be looking at, Senator Jeshaun Jones one day down the road?
Maybe, man. You
never
know.
I like the sounds of it, man. I like the sounds of it. Jeshaun, I mentioned Jeshaun Jones with us on GCR. I mentioned that, like, here we go again, and another Maryland wide receiver that for some reason I don't know how it makes even a lick of sense, because all Maryland wide receivers ever do is become really good pros, but yet somehow so many of you guys end up being overlooked in the process. Is it frustrating to have to go through that? Like, that here you are, everything you accomplished, everything you showed, and yet nothing is promised to you as you go into the draft process.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a little frustrating, but like I said, I feel like the things that I've dealt with and the situations I've been put in my 6 years in College Park, I mean, I feel like I feel like I've been kind of built for this. I've been kind of built for this moment to where whatever I'm ready to roll with whatever comes. I'm ready to take advantage of whatever opportunity I do get. So that's all I really can look forward to is taking advantage of whatever opportunity I do get and put myself in the best situation, man. I mean, it's definitely tough, and like being that I've been in a room with NFL guys for probably all 5 or 6 of my years here, and to see how it all works out, it's definitely been tough to watch and talk to some of those guys. But like they've kind of all helped me. The ones with the successful stories and the ones with the not so successful stories have all helped me and helped me navigate through it all and helped me prepare to be in this moment. Like you don't control anything, especially at this next level. It's a huge business, and there's not much you can do but put yourself in the best position, put your best foot forward. So that's all I'm doing or trying to do. So that's all I'm looking forward to doing.
What are they missing? Like a team that doesn't have you at the top of their receiver board, what are they missing about what it is that you're going to bring to whoever it is that ends up calling your name?
Man, I say a tough, smart, and reliable football player, man. And I feel like I'm a good guy on and off the field. I'm educated. I haven't been in any trouble, so I feel like and on the field, like I said, smart, tough, and reliable. I feel like I can learn any playbook. I feel like I can compete with the top dogs at the next level. I feel like I've competed with the top dogs in the Big Ten and in college football while I've been here. I feel like I'm ready for that next step, and I can help whatever locker room that I'm put into.
You mentioned, the guys that you've been around. Who are the guys that you've leaned on most? Is like that you've reached out to and you've asked for advice and maybe you've even worked out with in trying to get ready for this?
Man, I've talked to Rakim. I've talked to Dante. I've talked to Leah this whole time. I've talked to Tavon Jacobs from a while back. I've talked to DJ Moore a little bit. Like I've talked to DJ Turner. I've talked to quite a few guys that I know that are in these positions, that have been in these positions. So I just kind of and I've relied on some guys who played, and Brian Cobbs. I've actually leaned on him a lot.
Wow.
He's been in my corner this whole process. I actually talked to him probably like once or twice a week. So it's been good, man, just to have those people in my corner and know that I can call those guys at any point in time and have a real conversation.
Yeah, it's a heck of a group, man.
yeah. So I've been able to, I feel like I've been able to connect with some good guys, and like I said, I have great stories and not so great stories, and they've all been there and been open to helping me out. So I'm blessed and thankful for it, to say the least.
Jeshaun, for eternity, for as long as they play football at Maryland, people will associate you with the Texas game, right? Like it's just. There will be no greater step on the field moment, maybe in football history, than that game. I'm sure that still ranks high on there. But are there other moments for you that you would actually say, "Hey, as cool as that was, this one actually meant even more to me later on in my career"?
Man, it's hard to top that on the field, but I can definitely say just being able to see the culture change and the team take that turn in the right direction.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was big. I'm not gonna lie. That was one of the biggest things as an older guy. I think as a young guy, I probably wouldn't have appreciated as much, just because I didn't know as much. Just being able to see that and understand what it's taken to get to kind of where we are now with 3 straight bowl wins. I mean, and that's just the beginning. I feel like, man, we're not gonna sit here and act like winning bowl games is the best thing in the world, but we're striving for a Big Ten championship, and I know Maryland is this year for sure, and we've always have. Just being, like I said, being able to see that curve and the type of guys that come through that place, man, it's been amazing to see the change and program moving in the right direction.
I wanted to ask you about that because you chose to play in the bowl game, right? And a lot of guys, and I certainly don't knock any of them, don't make that same choice. Like a lot of guys decide, hey, I want to start getting ready for what's next. Why was that important to you? Why was it something that you wanted to do to be a part of that in Nashville?
Man, to be completely honest, I think when you say that, when you say like other guys don't make that decision, I think I made my decision based off of what I've been through, man. I've had 2 ACLs and I've had to miss 2 damn near whole seasons.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've missed two whole seasons
You're
almost,
good.
and just why would I sit out an opportunity when I'm good enough to play, healthy enough to play? Why would I miss out on that opportunity, man? I feel like I missed enough time in my time here. I missed enough games in my time here at Maryland. So it's like it was like why not go out there and finish it off the right way and finish what I started?
That's really special, man. And then what did that feeling like? I can only imagine then how much it meant to you for you guys to go out there and throttle an SEC team the way that you did, having made that decision. I gotta imagine that was a pretty emotional feeling for you.
Yeah, definitely. That was huge, man. It was amazing to have that opportunity. Nashville and the Music City Bowl took great care of us. It was an amazing experience, and I would say, I mean, that was a great way to finish my college career off. I wish I could have caught that touchdown in the back corner.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, exactly. That'd have been a great way to go out and a deep ball later in the game. But I'm just blessed, man. I was thankful to be able to go out there and finish my last ride with the team that I started with, man.
That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. Just another couple of minutes here with Jeshaun Jones, former Maryland wide receiver on GCR. Jeshaun, I see you guys on social media, and I don't think it's to the detriment of anyone else. But what Billy Edwards means to your group of guys is wild to me. And I know there's going to be a competition, and they're going to pick a quarterback. But can you explain why so many guys feel so much towards Billy and go out of their way to say things about him like you do?
Man, you would have to be around him to really know. I mean, Billy, from the day he got in there, he kind of knew the position he was in, and he came in and prepared as he was the number one guy from day one, man. He took full advantage of every opportunity he got, and, you know, I think a lot of guys gained a lot of respect for him when he went out there versus Michigan, and held his own. I mean, we didn't win that game, but he definitely didn't come in there and make it worse for us. You know, he came in and kind of picked up right where Talia left off, and I think that's kind of where it all started. And I can say that his preparation is what got it for me. And then, you know, seeing him go out there and do what he did against Michigan at the Big House, you know, like that was amazing to me. Even though we didn't win, like just for him to come in and be as composed and as composed as he was, and being able to navigate throughout the game like he did, I feel like it was amazing, man. And that's just all a testament to his work ethic and his preparation each and every week.
Would it be fair to say that you're like rooting for him to get his chance next year?
Yeah, it would definitely be fair to say that.
Okay.
And that's just because I spent a lot more time with them.
Sure.
And I like all the quarterbacks, man. Me and Cam Edge spend a lot of time together. He put me in a bad position here. So
I don't want it. You know, I don't want you to think that's what I'm trying to do. I know what you mean. That like you're not rooting against anybody. Like
right.
It's not negative in any way towards anywhere else. It's just that's what this dude means to you. That it would mean something for you to see him get that chance.
Yes, sir. It would definitely mean something to me, man. And I honestly can't wait to hear from the guys, because I talk to all of them still. I just can't wait to hear and see how that quarterback competition goes throughout the spring.
All right, so I think you're a Florida guy, obviously. There's a Florida guy that happens to play quarterback here in Baltimore. I know that you're going to be excited no matter where it is. Like you're about to. It's 32 teams that are about to be your favorite team in the coolest place ever. But specifically, what would it mean to you if you had a chance to go run around with Lamar Jackson this summer and into the fall with the Baltimore Ravens?
Man, that would mean the world, man. That mean a lot, because being he's a Florida guy, and there's a couple of Florida guys around him on that team, and I feel like Lamar's such a great leader. I haven't heard much bad about him. I love the kind of guy. I love how he plays the game. I love how he leads his team and how the guys rally behind him. I think that's amazing, and that just shows what kind of, when you see that, like when you see a team just rally around the guy, like no matter if he's a quarterback or not. I mean, you kind of have to when he's a quarterback, but when guys lean on him, like and lean towards him, and kind of pick up what he does and what he says and kind of the trends he's on, I feel like that just shows what kind of guy he is and what kind of teammate he is. And I would love to, man. I would love to go out there and catch the ball from Lamar Jackson. That'd
be pretty cool, man. That would be really quite cool.
That'd be sweet.
Jeshaun, I wanted to ask too, like, you mentioned that you guys, like, it's not just about winning bowl games and you want to see them do more. Knowing what it took just to get to where you guys were, and you know it maybe more than anybody because you saw the bottom, like you saw where it came from and just how difficult it was to get to this point. What will it take, right, as you move forward for the next group of guys? What will it take to further close the gap for them to have a chance to win the Big Ten?
My personal opinion, man, I think it's just consistency, day in and day out. It's just stacking days and not getting too far ahead or don't worry about the past, man. I feel like it's just consistency, stacking days, man. That's the biggest thing I feel like we missed on last year. Just kind of losing those games like the Northwestern, the Illinois, where we had no business losing those games, and we still did. And I feel like that's where we kind of lacked. That's what we kind of lacked last year was consistency, because then you see we'll come out there and play the national champions to the fourth quarter. So, and we still had 3 opportunities in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, to kind of win the game or put ourselves in position to win the game. So I think just consistency, man. And I think if they're able to build that and create that consistency throughout the team and the program, I feel like that's kind of all that we missed these last couple of years, man. It's just that consistency day in and day out, attacking it.
Jeshaun, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you about your biggest fan, because it was really neat. Every time we would have you on the show, I'd end up seeing a tweet from your mom over the years, and she's a special person. And like reading some of the stuff that she's written and what she's trying to do to help other football moms, what does it mean to you now to try to continue to follow your goals for everything that she's done for you, and how much of a fan she continues to be in your life?
Man, it's that lady's my number one. That's my rock. That's my why. I appreciate her for everything, man. It's been amazing for her to be right along with me throughout this journey, man. It's been a long one. It's been a tough one, and she's been in my corner every day, man. I can call on her at any point in time, and she may not have the best answer, but she can go find it and figure it out. And that's why I feel like it would be amazing to just be able to, because she knows how much it means to me to make it to the next level, and I know that would just make her world to see me make it to the next level, just because she knows how much it means to me and how much I put into this. And it'd just be amazing to be able to get there and have her right along with me. Hopefully she can add another section to her book and and make it single NFL moms, man. I hope she's I don't know how I get caught up, man. It's kind of, I get emotional talking about it.
I get it, man.
She's been there from day one, man, and not a lot of people can say that, and everybody that's been a part of my journey, who's met me through this journey at Maryland, at South Fort Myers, and like they know her, they know she's always there, they know she's gonna find a way to be there and be present, and as a mom and as a parent, that's all you can ask for.
I'm getting emotional listening to you talk about your mom. I feel like I need to go call my mom now. Jeshaun. That is awesome, dude. That's and she really is a special person. That's really cool, man. All right. Maryland fans that maybe aren't following you, or what can we plug for you? Social media, anything that you got going on partnership with? What can we get a plug in for you for, Jeshaun?
That's like my Twitter handle. Right? Yeah, my Twitter's Jeshaun Jones 06, and my Instagram is Jeshaun_J. And I haven't got any big partnerships yet, but I'm looking forward to it and be looking forward to it in the near future.
Jeshaun, we're always going to root for you, man. You really were a special player to watch, and we can't wait to see what's next. You understand that, like, if it's like, say, Pittsburgh, we're going to have to kind of hate you a little bit, but it's not personal. Like, it's just business. Like, you understand we got to stand on business in those situations.
Yes, sir.
But you personally, we will root for you for forever, man. Really a joy to watch you play over these 6 years here in College Park. Can't wait to see what's next. Hopefully it's in purple. Thank you for taking the time for us.
There's no problem, man. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate your support throughout my whole time in Maryland. And hopefully, like you said, it could be in purple, and you guys can be right in my corner for a little longer, man.
It's Jeshaun Jones, former Terp, and obviously went through so many things during his time at Maryland, from maybe the greatest debut in the history of football. I mean, like, seriously. Although it's crazy, it's all the way back in 2018. Like, what a different world we were living in September of 2018. As you'll remember, Jeshaun Jones, his first 3 touches of his college football career against Texas. And I don't remember which order it was, but a receiving touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and a passing touchdown. I don't know that anything like that will ever happen again in the history of the sport. Went through a lot injury-wise, went through a lot, obviously, off the field. He arrived as Maryland was going through a quite tumultuous time. And the aftermath of the Jordan McNair tragedy, coaching change, quarterback changes, pandemic, all of it. Hell of a player. Hopefully he will get his chance to prove it at the next level, but clearly, as you heard there, he's got a lot of other things lined up and a lot of other opportunities ahead of him. So great stuff with Jeshaun Jones. Appreciate him taking the time for us. Into hour number 2 of today's program. Whether you're celebrating a special milestone, entertaining clients, or simply enjoying a night out, count on Ruth's Chris to deliver to you the finest steaks, the best service, and a level of hospitality that has made Ruth's Chris one of the most revered names in steak since 1965. Make your reservation right now, ruthschris.com. It is a Monday edition of the program, and we are going to find out more about an announcement the Orioles just made. They have some plans for the run-up to opening day. For everybody that's not down in Florida, how do you get involved? How do you get fired up? A chance to meet some folks. Celebrate the start of baseball season. We're going to find out a little bit more about that when Kerry Watson, Vice President of Public Affairs for the Orioles, joins us next. We continue along here on GCR.
Hey, it's Jeremy Conn. This postseason, bet in person at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks with locations in Canton and in Towson, and enjoy the best in-class sports wagering experience at their state-of-the-art facilities, bringing an unmatched sports betting thrill.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Discover your next favorite beer crafted in the heart of Charm City. At Guilford Hall Brewery, we believe beer should be flavorful and easy to enjoy. Our meticulously crafted lagers and ales are derived from centuries-old European brewing traditions, a staple for both the seasoned beer aficionado or a novice hophead. Experience beer styles that dare to showcase the exceptionality of simplicity. Visit our restaurant and brewery at 1611 Guilford Avenue or view our menu and tap map online at guilfordhall.com. Guilford Hall Brewery, European tradition, Baltimore charm.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
6 chicken tenders made from fresh, never frozen Royal Farms world-famous chicken, a family-sized order of Western fries, honey mustard dipping sauce, and a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It's Royal Farms' new Tucker's Tenders Meal. It's Justin Tucker's favorite, and at only $19.99, it'll be your favorite meal, too. The new Tucker's Tenders Meal, available only at Royal Farms. Now you can kick back, relax, and eat like a champion. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
Craving that classic New York deli experience? Look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and something different. A bar! Atman's has food and drink specials every day. Now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in, grab takeout, or hang out at the bar for the next O's game. Atman's Deli, an authentic taste of Baltimore tradition since 1915. Find us at Harbor Point or visit atmansdeli.com.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis. AJMichaels.com. Hungry? With 7 locations throughout Maryland, Glory Days Grill is always right around the corner. They have wings, burgers, salads, sandwiches, and drinks to satisfy everyone, as well as tons of televisions and sound delivered right to your phone. Glory Days is the best place to watch football or whatever your favorite sport is. While you're there, be sure to check out Goose Flights Lager, named in honor of legendary Raven Tony Goose Siragusa. $2 of every can is donated to the Goose Flights Foundation. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
Stan the Fan Charles is down in Sarasota, and he, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson are getting together this afternoon to talk about what it is that he has seen so far at spring training. 4 o'clock today, they'll break down the roster debates. They'll break down what it is that still is to be determined. Join them, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. And if you miss it live, you can see it at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Okay, so some news this morning. Obviously, we're going to continue to monitor everything going on in the NFL. T. Higgins has requested a trade from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, to be fair, hello, we were here a year ago.
Everyone thinks they're Lamar Jackson.
I mean, but the point is, a lot of times trade requests are just sort of part of doing business. How the Players Association didn't figure out a way to break the tag structure in the last CBA negotiations, it's a reminder of like how comparatively weak the NFLPA has been over the years and how unwilling, how little of an appetite there has been for players to actually miss game checks. Like, to sit out, wreck a season in the name of trying to break certain things that have been clearly the diametric opposition of what they want. And the tag structure, which they have hated forever, they've never gone to war really about. They say they are. They talk about it, but they've never really tried to break it. So this has almost become part of the process now. You get tagged, you don't like how conversations are going, you demand a trade. It's just the way it goes. Like, it's a negotiating tactic. Now, that I don't know anything of the uniqueness of T. Higgins' situation. Perhaps T. Higgins really does want out of Cincinnati, really says, I don't ever want to play another game here. But a year ago, it felt explosive when Lamar Jackson wanted out of Baltimore, and the truth is, it was just another step in the process. I don't know how that is for the Bengals. I don't know if they're saying internally what the Ravens are kind of saying about the linebacker position, like there's only so much money that we can allot the wide receiver, and we can't pay 2 guys this extraordinary amount of money. And so our intent is we're going to have T. Higgins play this year, and then he's going to go. But he still has to play on that figure on the franchise tag. So I don't know what to make of it. All I know is we know enough to know to not overreact to a trade demand. And if anyone knows that, it's us here in Baltimore, because we're just 1 year removed from seeing it play out with Lamar Jackson. So it's interesting. It exists, but what does it really mean? Not sure when it comes to T. Higgins. So the Orioles have made an announcement this morning about how you can get involved in the lead-up to opening day. They've got a countdown to opening day series that'll start on March 16th. Let's find out a little bit more about that, as well as some other things going on in Birdland, as we welcome back to the program Orioles Vice President of Public Affairs. He is Mr. Kerry Watson, and he's back with us here on GCR. Kerry, it's Glenn. You know, I was disappointed that we missed out on talking to you last week, but maybe this worked out for the better because we got so much more to talk about today.
Is there something going on in Baltimore with the Orioles? How is it?
Kerry,
I think mostly good things.
Yeah, we are very excited about it.
You should be. We all should be.
So the Countdown to Opening Day series, you and I talked about the caravan and how you guys have prioritized, we want to come touch you, that it's not always going to be you having to come touch us. We want to outreach. We want to get to other places. And this feels like a very similar concept, what you guys are going to be doing in the lead up to opening day.
No, it's really exciting. Yeah, we are really concentrating on bringing the team to our fans, being present, making sure that, every one of our fans feel like they are actually part of the team.
I think it's great. Events will include events at Camden Yards as well as at Checker Spot Brewing and at the Bel Air Sports Cards store up in Hartford County. It's a really unique opportunity. What was the impetus for trying to – is the idea that we want this to be like an annual – in the lead up to opening day, the Orioles are going to be out in the community. Was the idea to try to create something that becomes tradition here in Baltimore?
Absolutely. We are definitely Baltimore's team. There's no question about that. But Baltimore isn't just, the city of Baltimore. It's an entire region and the entire state of Maryland. So to the extent that we can come out and be present and touch you guys, that's what we're going to continue to do.
How much easier is it? Kerry, you're still relatively new to this job. So, when you come into a place where there is as much passion and fire as there is, how much easier has your job been since you arrived? Because
I got to tell you, there's been quite a few people cursing me a little bit because they feel like that I am the beneficiary of a lot of good work that has happened before me. And you know what? They're absolutely right. We have a strong team, both on the field and in our offices. And a lot of people from Baltimore that are equally as passionate about the team as anyone in the city. So always, the amount of ideas that are coming up from all parts of the organization, trying to figure out how to be a better organization, how to be a better partner with the city, how to be a better partner with our fans. Yeah, the job's pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be exciting for everybody. Kerry Watson is with us here on GCR, and it's not just, obviously I think the Countdown to Opening Day is great, but I'll add in like the news last week about this golf thing that's going to be happening at Camden Yards, which is new and completely different and unique. I feel like this is exactly what fans would want. There's an opportunity for somebody to do something at Camden Yards that you've literally never been able to do before at your favorite ballpark.
We have the ballpark that forever changed baseball, and I know I get to look at it out my office window every single day, that it is a place that people just want to be able to touch, to be here, and we are looking to activate this park as much as we possibly can. Hence, a lot of the discussions during the lease negotiations. How do we get people into this park and around this beautiful facility as much as possible? So yeah, that is going to be a fun day. Unfortunately for me, my drive isn't that long, it fades to the right.
Yeah.
So
fades.
I think the right field bleachers, the Utah Street bleacher seats might get dinged a bit if I'm up there, but it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I wish mine was a fade. Mine is a full-on hook right out of the stadium. Like, I might actually somehow, if I had a little more strength, it might end up at Topgolf like that. It is going right out of the ballpark if I get up there.
Yeah.
But no, what you point out, it's something that I've talked about before because, like, not everybody is always going to be into, like, a certain concert. I know Bruce Springsteen's coming back later this year. It's not always going to be that this one thing is for everybody. But what I appreciate is, and I think it's something difficult to explain to ardent Orioles fans, because ardent Orioles fans, it's like in our blood.
Right.
This is what we do as we go to the stadium. But believe it or not, there are people that maybe aren't ardent baseball fans, and getting them into the building for something else and them feeling a little bit and maybe them saying, maybe I'll come back. Like, maybe I'll give this a shot. Like, I think it's crazy because we all think there's no way. Like, who who could possibly be touched that isn't already a baseball fan? But I feel like you guys have to think about that. Like, we still have to activate people in this community that aren't hardcore baseball fans already.
I can't imagine that you could sit behind home plate, look over through downtown, out through center field, and see downtown Baltimore and that beautiful view, and not say, you know what, I think I want to come back to a game one day. The atmosphere of baseball, period, but let alone a game here at Camden Yards. Once you get in the stadium, you don't have to love baseball to love the environment, and it is our job to get you here.
Kerry, is there more coming in that way? You mentioned, like, I think a lot of people, like, parsed through everything in the lease and said, wow, well, you can't play football games here, but you could do, like, a hockey game. Are you guys really thinking about, like, the uniqueness of – I see these, like, winter festival events that others admittedly, Kerry, my family and I have gone down to Nationals Park a couple of times for that Christmas light display, and I thought every time I was there, like, boy, I wish this was in Baltimore because it's awesome. Is that type of stuff that you guys are thinking about?
We are thinking about all of those types of events. There are so many opportunities to do things here. And a lot of our meetings, we are constantly kind of just going through the different options that could exist in partnership with the state even. I mean, the state would love for us to have more events here, and we're going to identify more ways. I
got to tell you, my buddy Matt Swope's the baseball coach at Maryland, and he's like a hardcore, dyed-in-the-wool Orioles fan. And he was asking me to rattle some chains about trying to figure out a way that Maryland can play a game there at some point in the future. So I don't know. I'm guessing that – I don't even know if that's your area, but just so it's on your radar, like that he is the big – and they've had a lot of success in recent years. They've been really exciting. It would be very cool. I'm just putting it out there, Kerry. That's all I'm doing. Whatever happens from there, I've done my part now.
In terms of other baseball that will be happening here at Camden Yards, I will just recommend you stay tuned.
All right. I like the sounds of that.
How's that for a tease?
I like the sounds of that a great deal. Kerry, what else is on your radar? Like, as you've settled into this job, and I know, it's an interesting time. I think we all, without saying too much, it's a time of transition with the Orioles. What have you uniquely learned about this team, this city, this fan base, and what is a priority for you moving forward? What's something that you say, hey, I want this to happen for the Orioles moving forward as I have this role?
I really appreciate you asking that question. Look, the passion is remarkable. But what I want for our organization is for people who are not historically baseball fans to look at this organization and this brand as something that they can love, even if they don't love baseball, because we are, as I said before, present. We are active. We are strategic and thoughtful about how we approach our city and the people within it and how we partner with other organizations. Look, the reality is, we have one of the most recognizable brands in sports, period, and certainly one of the most recognizable brands in the city. Now, using that brand to bring good things to Baltimore is a particular focus of mine, to help those that maybe don't have the opportunities to come to games or to feel like they are considered by brands like ours. I hope over time that people will see us differently. And even if we're losing a game, you're going to love this team. Now on the field, obviously there's a lot to be excited about. If you've been following anything that's been going on down in Sarasota.
It's been okay, yeah.
We have talent on top of talent on top of talent. And I feel good about the future on the field. Now, we have to match that off the field. And that is where my focus particularly lies.
I wonder what you would say. I thought the fan base really liked seeing the images of David Rubenstein down in Sarasota with John Angelo, spending time together, and then coming up to Baltimore and, like taking pictures with fans out of the team store, right? Like, as someone in the role that you're in, what did that mean to you to see everybody kind of working together this way for the greater good?
John Angelos deserves a remarkable amount of credit for preparing this team, this organization, the way he did. Let's start with Mike Elias. Clearly one of the brightest minds in the sport. He brought him here and said, do your work, and the results of which we are enjoying right now. Now, what doesn't hit the press as much is that he did the same thing in the front office. And he's allowed this organization to grow and to be thoughtful and to try new things. And I think the fan base is starting to enjoy that right now. I certainly hope so. And that is going to continue. The one thing that he promised very early on, despite the skeptics, was that this team was going to stay in Baltimore. And it is guaranteed. It is assured.
That's fact.
Through this latest agreement that is staying in Baltimore. And the decision that, is being considered right now by Major League Baseball to change owners, to change control persons to someone that loves Baltimore as much as John does, is also something that he deserves a remarkable amount of credit for producing.
It's well said, and I think those images really went a long way for a lot of Orioles fans who are excited about the future. I mean, they're excited about today. Let's make that abundantly clear.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited about the immediacy of what's in front of us, but obviously excited about the future beyond that and what all of this is going to mean. Kerry Watson, what should we be reminding people, particularly when it comes to the announcement you guys made about Countdown to Opening Day? I'm sure it's plastered all over Orioles.com that you can go or just search Countdown to Opening Day Orioles, and you're going to find it. What else would you want to remind people about as we get closer to the team getting back up here to Baltimore?
Well, I was looking at the calendar this morning, and we are 2 weeks from Thursday, from opening day, and it is quickly approaching. So if you want to get to one of those games that first weekend, best call now. We expect one of our strongest opening weekends in recent memory. Make sure that if you want to come to opening day, you might want to get that Birdland membership going ASAP. And if you can't make it to opening day, that Saturday and Sunday game against the Angels, that should be pretty energetic as well.
It'll be Aaron Hicks revenge weekend, so we got that going on as well. No, we're excited. Actually,
we're going to welcome him home.
Well, we you know what, we really did appreciate Aaron Hicks, man. He offered a whole heck of a lot, but now we're just gonna have to go kick his ass. That's the way it's gonna have to work. Kerry,
that's the business.
Kerry, really appreciate you taking the time for us. Would like to do this more throughout the course of the season to talk about what you guys have going on. Thanks so much for hopping on, and we'll talk again real soon, all right?
Always enjoy being here with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Kerry. Kerry Watson, Vice President, Public Affairs for the Baltimore Orioles. And look, man, I think it's these are small things. Again, how do you measure that against I want to be able to watch the spring training games? You want me to tell the truth? I would like for the Orioles to still consider certain things. I think it's an awkward time because a lot of these decisions are going to be made by somebody else who can't make them yet. I think they need to offer I think they need to do what the Diamondbacks are doing and create an over-the-top package for games, particularly with the news that they're going to go to a higher tier on Comcast. If you missed that last week, Masson will be moving. If you're a Comcast subscriber, Masson's going to be moving to – they will no longer be on the basic tier on Comcast. They're going to move up. Now, as I've telling you a million times, cable's going to die at some point anyway. I think the Orioles, it's time for them to step up and make an over-the-top offering, like the Diamondbacks are doing. Now, the Diamondbacks are kind of forced into that, and I don't know if other teams are. I just happen to see the Diamondbacks are doing it. They were kind of forced into it because of the awkwardness of the Bally Sports thing. They said, well, we got to be more creative. So $100, you get all the games. Via the app, via the team app, it's there. $100, you get all the games. I think the Orioles should do that. And it's up to you. You would say, even if it costs me $20 more per month to get the next tier of cable in order to have Masson, start doing that math, right? Well, there's 12 months, $240. I think Masson would be well served to try to have better content year-round, but I think most of us would say you need Masson for baseball season. So April, May, June, July, August, September, 6 months, $120. Oh, it seems like $100 to watch all the games. In comparison to what you'd have to pay if you're a Comcast subscriber to keep Masson, that would be better. So I think that should be a priority. And that's tough because you're kind of in direct competition with yourself because you own Masson. But I think it's about I like the idea of going and meeting the fans ahead of the start of the season, bringing out some former players, I like that. I think those are good things. But what's the next thing? The next thing to me is now make sure you're meeting the fans to get them the games. Come meet your fan base. Get an over-the-top offering. Maybe make it that you can access the Masson app for a certain amount. Come up with a price for that so it's still yours. Say it's not competition against yourself. Whatever it is. I think that should be something the Orioles should do. I think that David Rubenstein's going to be involved in whatever that looks like moving forward for his crew. I think they're going to be involved in making those decisions. And we're getting closer. Here, I'd like to take a break. Can we take a break? Yeah. We're getting closer. The next hurdle in the process was approved last week. It seems like it's not going to be before too long that David Rubenstein will be the point person. And then it's awkward timing, right? Because the season will basically have began, and I don't know that you can go back and remake some of these decisions that needed to be made before the year. It'll be interesting to see how things like this, the future of the games, because I'm telling you, this ain't it. This ain't it. You're asking people to not watch your games. You're asking more people to say, okay, we're not going to watch the Orioles. You don't want that. So try to find a way. Try to find some sort of middle ground between these things. I don't know what that's going to be, but it's time to start making those types of decisions. All right, Jeremy Conn's going to join us in a minute here on GCR as he does every Monday. Today's show is also brought to you by the print issue of Press Box, which is available your neighborhood Royal Farms and in hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. Actually, is this our third break?
Yes.
We don't. You know what? I take it back. We don't need to take a break. We don't need to. I thought this was only our second. I'm like, we better take a break here. Then I remembered we did that. My fault. That one's on me. I apologize. But I don't apologize for this print issue of Press Box. It's excellent. Go get it now. Or read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. So we dive into the 2024 Orioles and the chances that are ahead of them to try to take the next step and go compete to win a World Series this season. All right, joining us now here on GCR. I don't want to. He and I, we actually talked about it on the radio show for a little while yesterday. So I don't want to. If you have not watched Jeremy's video, he posted it on YouTube last week and on his socials. Go watch it. It's real. It's raw. It speaks to what a lot of people deal with when it comes to depression and mental health, and it moved me seriously. And I don't want to keep talking about it because I do want to talk about fun things and silly things. But I just want to make sure that if you guys haven't watched it, you go watch it now. You know him from the Big Bad Morning Show, ConcreteLocks.com. He's our friend Jeremy Conn, and he's back with us now here on GCR. What's up, buddy?
Where exactly did my video move you?
Oh, you know exactly what happened. I sent you all those pictures.
And look, I love to make jokes about it, but I really do appreciate it. It's something that I've been trying to do for a while and figure out the right way to do it. And then as I told you guys on Sunday, I was kind of maybe inspired's not the right word to use, but like I felt guilty about how I was feeling being down at Radio-thon when all these people are fighting for their lives and everything else. And I just thought it was something to talk about. And I was shocked at, maybe I shouldn't be shocked at how many messages I got, even after I said specifically, you don't have to send me any messages. But, you know, it just means a lot that if it's affected somebody in some way and it's for you, great. If it's not for you, I get it. But, you know, it just meant a lot to me to do it.
Jeremy, again, I don't want to spend too much more time on it because we did this, but I think that a lot of us deal with a lot of things that we just don't like talking about, and just hearing somebody else talk about it goes a long way for us to be capable of talking about things, and none of it solves any of it. Like, just, it's one of the things we talk about. It doesn't solve the problem. Like, well, now I've discussed it, so it goes away. Like, it don't work that way.
Well, it does directly affect the show, because I think my depression started as soon as I found out that I was terrible at picking football games this season.
Yeah,
and
that's
now
what
I have
it
to
was.
dance
You're
and sing and
blaming.
eat crap.
Yeah, you're blaming us for that. You're not getting out of it, Chief. You're not. No matter what, I don't care. You're not getting out of it. We're still working on figuring out the date for Jeremy to come in here and pay off his penalty. All right,
The first thing I have to do is set up the Irish dance lessons. Like, the other stuff
that's
can
the
be done
problem.
at any time.
So, like,
I gotta get that.
Griffin said to me, well, I think Tim and Belair could come in on this day. I'm like, right, that's wonderful, but if Jeremy hasn't taken the Irish dance lesson, that doesn't help us at all. He has to perform for us. That's the way that this goes. Yeah, well, you know, you said you would take the lesson. You're going to do it. All right.
No. I definitely want to do it. Yeah.
I got a few things I want to cover with you. Have you seen this video of the women's basketball coach at Utah State from yesterday?
Yeah, it's great. When she got fired.
This is for those that haven't seen it. Let me play it real quick. For those that haven't seen it, her name is Kayla Ard is her name. She was the women's basketball
not
coach.
going to be working here anymore.
Yeah. She goes to do her post-game press conference after they lose to Boise State in the Mountain West Conference tournament. And she's asked about how they go about rebuilding the team for next year. And her answer is like that Magic Johnson meme. Here's what it sounded like. Here's what it looked like, this post-game press conference.
And how do you plan to rebuild for next season?
I'm not going to be rebuilding. I just coached my last game at Utah State. I spoke with Diana, and they're going in a different direction, and I respect her decision, and I hope they get a really good coach in.
Wait, let it play. It's awkward silence.
The last question.
Yeah, so it's going to be the last question. All right, and see ya.
Thank you, Coach.
It's so right. Like, it's so everything about this is incredible to me. Which is like how quick. We dealt with this. Who was the college football coach that got fired on the tarmac? It was a USC coach, right? Was it Lane Kiffin that got fired, or was it Clay Helton?
Yeah.
One of them got fired on the tarmac. Like,
so maybe it was Clay Helton.
It might have been Clay.
I mean, Lane Kiffin's such an a-hole. You think it could be him,
right? But he moved on. He got.
Yeah, it was Kiffin. It was Lane.
It was Lane Kiffin who got fired on the tarmac. Like, that's awkward. This is next level. Like, this is, and by the way, it's not all that dissimilar to how Ken Niumatalolo got fired at Navy, although he at least got to do his post-game press conference before in the office at the stadium in Philadelphia when all that guy had ever done was win. Like, they walked in and said, sorry, Ken, this is it. And, like, he had to go travel back with the team.
And, Glenn, I don't know if I'm the type of guy that you should give me an open mic after you've just fired me.
That's the crazy part, right?
Yeah. Because she played it off like, I hope they get a great coach. I hope, like,
she's a very nice person, clearly.
The program, yeah.
And I get it. Like, part of that is she wants to get her next job, and so she's thinking about that. But, like, yes, a certain person who doesn't give an F would lose it. Like, would just walk in and say these and I've dealt with a lot of coaches that would have no problem, like, cleaning out their closet in the moment something like this occurred. But the awkwardness of it is so thick. And you and I have talked about awkward moments. I never know which stories you and I have talked about before. Like, and I was wondering if you have one or two.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'll give you the best one.
Okay, like Scott's Tots awkward levels, like, over the course of your life.
Well, no, like, I mean, the firing thing, and I don't know if this applies to what you're saying. Like, so when I got fired from 1570, it's a similar thing where they made me, like, I'm salaried employee, and I was making $28,000 a year. So I worked 7 days a week. Split shifts, double shows, filled in, all that stuff. Well, we would always run those Monday night shows when we recorded them on Tuesday the next day. So I got fired on a Tuesday, but I didn't know I was being fired because they were busy firing Terry Ford in the basement of that house. And meanwhile, they asked me to stay so I could run the show because they had nobody to run the show. So I think I'm staying to run the show while while the new morning show is going to be introduced or whatever. And then they bring me downstairs, and I'm told, hey, we don't need you to do mornings anymore. And I'm like, oh, so I'm just doing nights and weekends?
Right, yeah.
No, we don't need you to do nights and weekends anymore.
Yeah.
And then I was like, are you guys firing me? And they're like, yeah, we got to let you go. And I'm like, couldn't you have led with that?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like, would that have been better for me if you guys had done it before you made me work this show?
What an awkward way of saying that.
Well, it gets even better because 2 weeks before that, my mom had never been to a Ravens game, and I asked Nestor, I said, I never asked you for anything. Can you get me Ravens tickets? So there was basically two different checks. There was one check minus the fee for the Ravens tickets, or the other check that I could take, and that was my severance pay. And I'm like, oh, well, this really sucks. So I grabbed the check with the Ravens tickets, to which I found out I was sitting right next to Nestor, the guy that just fired me for the Ravens game, to which I just wanted to choke him the entire time. So, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I don't know if that applies for being as awkward as it possibly could be. But that's the one thing that really came to mind.
It's hard to be a lot more awkward than that. The ones that are like my go-to awkward, whatever. If I burn a bridge, I burn a bridge. I was asked by the folks at Monumental Sports to come interview to be the play-by-play guy for the Arena Football League team they were putting in Baltimore. I don't even remember. The Brigade, I believe, is what it was called. Of course, because it's always I tell you what's a really good idea is operating a Baltimore-based team out of Washington, D.C. Really good idea. You want to have success. That's how you should do it. But I get it. That's where their business was based out of, and so they asked me to drive to D.C., which, as everyone knows, and it was I want to say it was like a Thursday afternoon, to interview for this job. Couldn't be over the phone. It had to be in person, which, of course, makes me assume that, like, they're planning to hire me to be the play-by-play voice of the team. So I get down there, and, I didn't have, like, a terribly – like, it wasn't a horror story that some people have, like, where you had to wait an hour. Like, I think I waited, like, 10 minutes. It wasn't terribly inconvenienced. I'm still – like, I get upstairs. Everything's going well. We have, like, an hour-long conversation. And at the end of – I mean, like, I'm thinking that, like, we're making plans. They're asking me about dates. They're like, can you do this date? Can you do that date? I'm like, wow. And all of a sudden, I hear this. Well, we already hired Brent Harris for the job. I said, what? Like, what? And they look at me. They said, so would you maybe consider being the in-arena host? Like the guy that, is up on the screen, like, and now it's time for the bagel toss. Like, being that guy. And I'm just, like, sitting there after I had driven to, like, D.C. Absolutely had to pay for parking, by the way. 1,000% had to pay for parking. Oh. Like, I've driven to D.C. I'd gone through this hour-long meeting, and they so casually throw in the, like, well, no offense, but Brent Harris is better looking than you. And so we went ahead and hired him.
Well, man, as you're talking, I'm thinking of multiple stories. So I had like Mark Viviano turned me on to Monumental when they were talking about doing a gambling show.
Yeah.
And I interviewed with him a couple times, and then I was even asked, would you be willing to shave your beard? And I'm like, that's such a weird thing.
Yeah,
but I said,
bizarre.
if you guys wanted me to shave it off, I'd shave it off. But, like, why? Like, what's the difference if I have a beard or not? Like, should
George
it matter whether or not
Steinbrenner?
I'm doing a good job doing the show? So no, I never got like a third I got like a second or third call back, but they eventually went with someone much younger and much more beautiful. It felt like the Patrick Swayze skit with Chris Farley.
Yeah, right. Like, and the thing is, Dale's just he's just. We think
that much better body.
We think that women would be attracted to him. We consider the idea that a certain type of woman might find you attractive, but no, we're just not going to do that.
So I have two other ones where when I was in radio, I was working for a cabling company. We went to Games Workshop. For people who aren't familiar with like all the little figurines and stuff that they make.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was in White Marsh, right? They had one on the Avenue.
Yeah. There was
Correct.
a smaller one. So I was at the big one out like near where I live now, and we're working in the factory. And for people who don't know how like cable wires get run, like a lot of times you're throwing a string, you're taping that to the end of a cable wire if you're in a big factory, and then you're basically throwing the string over top of the rafters or getting a ladder out, and then you pull and drag all the cables. So I'm in this big facility, and I got to get this done so I can leave. This last cable wire has to be drawn, and there's this woman that just won't move. And I said, hey, I got to get in here real quick so we can do this. And she goes, well, I'm working. Tough luck. You'll have to wait till I go to lunch. She said, I just got back from lunch, and now I got to get my work done. I said, it'll literally take a second. And she was such a freaking bitch. I called her. She was a big girl, and I said, you stupid fat bitch, why don't you go take another lunch so I can do my damn job?
Wow.
Because, she was so ignorant to us and so mean that the next day I got called into the cable company office, and the guy's like, hey, man, did you by any chance call some girl a fat bitch? And I went, yeah. He goes, yeah, we're going to have to let you go.
Yeah. It's not great. There's kind of no way around that. It's not.
But they were all fans of the radio station, so they didn't want to fire me.
Oh, that's kind of hard. So the most uncomfortable I've ever felt in my life, like the thing that gives me the biggest, I know I've told this story before. I was home from college at one point, and there was a young lady that I had met, like when I was a kid, because she went to the same church as my parents. Like her and I don't know, we stayed in touch somehow over the years, or social media or something. And you're home from college, you're like, well, I'll call on this one tonight, right? I think that we all are speaking the same language without me having to, say the words out loud. So called her, and I said, hey, what are you doing on Saturday night? She was like, I ain't got any plans. And I said, great, why don't we go hang out, and then maybe we'll come back and I don't know, maybe we'll watch like a John Mayer DVD or something. You know what I mean? Like
something sexy. Where your body's a wonderland.
Exactly right. I said the part out loud, so she knew exactly what I was thinking. Like we did the whole thing. And so there's that. I'm staying at my parents' house. She, I believe, was still a senior in high school at this point. And I didn't know there was supposed to be like a blizzard overnight. And we fell asleep and like woke up, and there's 8 inches of snow on the ground, and she can't leave. Like, and we're at my parents' house, and her dad is calling uncontrolled. Where are you?
And so what was the end game there? How did did she just have to tell everybody what was going? I guess she had to be honest, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We were watching a movie and we fell asleep. We're really sorry. That's not the most, like, you would think that would be the most uncomfortable part of the story, is the part where her father literally like rented a snowplow to show up at my house and come get his daughter, and the stare that I got but not the case. That's not the most uncomfortable part of the story. In fact, not close. The most uncomfortable part of the story is that like my mother thinking that like she comes downstairs, and I can't hide. There's a girl here. There's nothing I can do about this at this point, right? Like, we're not going to try to keep her under the bed for the next couple of days. Hi, this is so-and-so, like, name redacted. She's here. It's what it is. We fell asleep watching the John Mayer DVD last night. That's what we're doing. And my mother, God bless her, thinks that she's like, what? Like, now she's like, my mother thinks we're in like survival mode. Like, what are you going to need in order to hunker down through this storm? Like, what can I do for you? Do you need some clothes? Of course, this young lady obviously said no, because that would be horrifying, right? Like, what a horrifying thought of this dude that I only kind of know's mother, awkward, weird mother, trying to like give me clothes to wear. That would be weird. My mother.
Would you like to wear my panties?
Yeah. Oh, Jeremy.
No.
My mother can't take no for an answer. Goes upstairs and comes back downstairs with her clothes, including her underwear.
Oh my goodness.
I can't get through the sentence without the douche chills hitting. I can't do it. Like, it's the most. I've never in my life been more horrified by anything.
Yeah, it's similar to the time I told you about my grandmother could ask me what I wanted for Christmas, and I kept saying crotchless panties, and because like I know she didn't have money, and she's like, tell me what you want. So she took an old pair of her panties and cut the crotch out of them and put them in my stocking.
Oh my! Okay, well,
so when I
hang
reached
on.
to my stocking, I pull out these gigantic pair of bloomers with the crotch that was cut out with scissors, and she goes, she's like, laugh about it now, bitch. Like, that was my grandmother. It's the best Christmas gift I've ever received because it made me laugh so freaking hard.
Greatest grandmother that's ever lived. That's amazing.
Yep.
That is incredible.
That's
all right. A couple of quick sports things because we must. One, what do you think? Do you really think the Ravens are going to end up with one of these running backs this week? Do you really think that's going to happen?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it feels like I think there could be a phone call made of something like, hey, I really want to be here. Can you work out something? If one of those guys wants to be here and come here on a favorable deal and maybe more of a, I don't want to say a prove-it deal, then, yeah, I think it makes sense. But when you have holes at the interior line on your offensive line, you need more running backs, okay? We know that. But we've been told that that's a bit of a luxury in the NFL and that you don't have to overpay for this position. You're going to need another corner. You're going to have to find depth at linebacker once you lose Patrick Queen. I know Trenton Simpson slides in. Somebody needs to become Trenton Simpson now. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that you have to fill in this team. So I don't know that it makes sense necessarily for them to run at one unless the financials make sense.
I agree. I mean, I just plain and simple, I agree. And I don't know why it's a priority. And again, I'm not going to be angry because I like good football players. Like I love Josh Jacobs. I'd love Josh Jacobs, and I wouldn't be angry about it. But
yeah,
I just feel like there are too many things that are issues. We're not talking about edge rush. It's so weird how we keep doing.
I didn't even bring that up, and then all those guys are free agents for the most part.
Like
so.
we every year we get into the spot, and we just don't even talk about it. And I get it; it worked out a year ago. They found these miracles, but I feel like we've created a new reality where like, well, it always works out for the Ravens. They always find. I'm like, no, it doesn't always work out that way. Like it happened to work out last year that Jadeveon Clowney was a revelation and Kyle Van Noy was helpful. But like, remember when they tried?
What I thought was a defensive genius and Mike McDonald running the show.
It certainly helped. But remember when they tried to make it work with Jason Pierre-Paul?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it doesn't always work that you can just bring in anybody and turn them into a productive edge rusher.
All 8 fingers.
Right? That's a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah, he does have the one hand that can give the Martians back the air in Total Recall.
That is nice. He's got that going for him. And then are you as convinced as I am that there was never really any debate about whether Jackson Holliday was going to be on the opening day roster? Like, I always found it weird last week when we were talking about it. Where people were like, "Oh, I think he's going to be on the opening day roster." I'm like, was there a time where people didn't think he was going to be on the opening day roster? Like,
yeah, I mean, we've talked so much about that, and I even had a couple of segments today where it's like, I mean, he went 0-2 lefty grand slam this weekend. It's like after I see that, and I'm not saying that's the end all be all because I've seen all the other stuff. I'm like, this guy should play every single day at the major league level. What are we doing? The only question that I had was there any, and this is the one thing that you'd have to look deeper into it. Is there any advantage to keeping him down for example, who is it? It's one of the prospects. I think it's Paul Skeens, right? If they keep him down at the beginning of the year, or maybe it's next year or something. If they keep him down for a couple weeks, then they get an extra year of them. Like, I understand that stuff makes sense from a business side of it.
I feel like it made sense once upon a time. But, dude, this PPI program, and, like, man, I hate continuing to give credit to Rob Manfred because, like, we're supposed to hate every commissioner. But, like, I'll be damned if, like, this guy hasn't hit on a lot of things. This PPI program that the Orioles took advantage of last year with Gunnar Henderson and the Mariners with Julio Rodriguez the year before it, like, it's almost to your detriment to try to play that game because
how about letting them trade those picks now and then the Orioles playing the game. If Corbin Burns walks, they get another first-round pick back that they traded.
100%, it's worth it to them. But like this thing, I just can't fathom if you bring up Jackson Holliday on Memorial Day weekend and he's Rookie of the Year, and he finishes third in Rookie of the Year voting,
and piss of yourself.
You could have had a draft pick by just putting him on the roster on opening day, like. What are we doing? I just.
And by the way, that's the same area where they drafted Gunnar Henderson.
Exactly. We just talked about this morning. And by the way, it's higher. The pick that they get the pick that they are getting because Gunnar Henderson won Rookie of the Year is 10 picks higher than the pick they used on Gunnar Henderson.
Wow.
It's insane.
That's so good. And by the way, not that I want to go back to what you're talking about with football, and you mentioned all the stuff the Ravens have to do. Did the rest of the division get better? With Jerry Jeudy going to the Browns and Russell Wilson to the Steelers, and Joe Burrow's going to be healthy, even though I think T. Higgins just requested a trade. So,
what do you make of the Russell? Like, you and I, these Warren Sharp numbers about Russell Wilson from last year really alarm me, Because a month ago, I would have said, boy, I thought Russ played well enough last year that I thought it was nuts that the Broncos were letting him go. But then looking at these Warren Sharp numbers about how he never threw the ball past 5 yards downfield. Like
21% completion percentage behind the line of scrimmage. Like he had the highest completion percentage of balls or highest percentage of his completion. I hope that makes sense.
Right.
Were balls thrown behind the line of scrimmage, which are safe plays. Like so when people throw out his completion percentage, I'm throwing that out. I'm not listening to it. Like,
so I'm not sure what Russ is at this point. Like I'm sorry, I interrupted you again, but I did this morning and talking about him because I said to the Steelers, like, it makes sense because of the money. Okay, so you're not paying much, you're kicking the tires, but does that take you out of the running for? If you're a Steeler fan, would you rather have Justin Fields and paid a little bit more for him? 1,000%. I would have been way more fearful of what the Steelers could have gotten out of Justin Fields than I would have been with Russell Wilson.
I just think, in the weirdest way, and I've said this for years, like, there's been something with Russell Wilson that I just didn't like, and then it started to show itself at the end of his tenure in Seattle. You know, the whole passive-aggressive, oh, my God, I want to be a Seahawk for life, but if you guys want to trade me, these are 5 places I'd like to go. I don't know, there's something off with him, man, and, I said all along I wanted the Steelers to get him because if it works out, like, it is a great story and talking about, which I know Ravens fans would hate. But if it doesn't, it's going to be so much fun making fun of those clowns.
Oh, God, it would be wonderful. But I think they're going to win 10 games next year. But that's exactly what I think they would have done with anybody as their quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so much of a bottom that the Steelers can have because they're well coached and they have a good defense. I don't think Russell Wilson helps them get again, unless the Broncos were doing that to their own detriment, unless they knew he was capable of doing more, but they just didn't want to let him for some reason. It comes off to me like if that's the Russell Wilson that you're getting, it's more of the same, and I don't think that he can make them a Super Bowl contender again next season. And it's one less year where they have a real, dynamic quarterback, and I'm good with that. All right, what's your story for this week, my friend?
So it's Ed and I all week long. Rob's on vacation, so having some fun there, and obviously, there's going to be a ton of March Madness talk leading into it. I know the Terps are in action later this week, and we'll talk.
Yes,
tournament.
But you said March Madness, and they're not going to be involved with that.
Well, no, they won't be. They have to make the run in the Big Ten tournament, which I don't think they're
not going
into. But I'm always a guy I love basketball so much. I don't care if the Terps make it or not, and I am a Terps fan, but I'm going to enjoy the tournament either way.
Yeah, and I will. I'll definitely be watching, but I will acknowledge that it's like anything. Every year that the Orioles aren't good, I am less baseball-centric than the years the Orioles are good. I know less about what's going on because I'm just not as invested, and I have to watch every game. And I feel that, any year in basketball where Maryland's not good, I'm it's not that I don't know anything. I know, that Houston's really good. I know that Zach Edey's dominant. I know that Cam Spencer's been a revelation for UConn this season, but I admittedly am not watching as many games, and I'm not quite as invested on the whole because I'm just kind of down on college basketball. I don't know. Maybe that's my mental health. I'm just.
Yeah, no, I get it. Sometimes stuff like this is cyclical, and I guess with me, the Orioles are the one team that I kind of lived and died by. But let's be honest, they hadn't been very good for a long time, so it's mainly been dying by them.
Yep.
But I still enjoy baseball because I'm such a sports fan and have been. But with baseball, football, and basketball kind of being in my blood, college basketball has always been that way. I love it when the Terps are in, want to make sure I'm watching them, rooting for them. But I love this tournament so much that it doesn't even matter. I went on a tirade bitching that we can't call it March Madness. I'm we're promoting your damn thing. What are we?
You're airing the game. We own the rights to the tournament. We're not allowed to say March Madness on the air. Jesus.
It's so stupid, man. It's the same thing when anytime you're talking about the Super Bowl, don't mention it. Call it the big game. People don't know what it is.
Right.
Why are we doing this?
Well, okay, hang on a second. That's only during advertising. You're not allowed. You can say the night the Super Bowl is occurring.
No, that's but I'm just saying for example, my show on Sundays is technically an hour-long commercial. So during that show, I can't say any of it.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's
my first weekend, I'm sitting there talking, and they're like, "Oh, you can't say that name," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's a sports talk show. I work for you guys." No, this is technically a commercial. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Dude, that's always the most uncomfortable thing. When I hear one of those, and now here's your sports betting minute. The team from New York is taking on the hot shot, like that you have to dance your way around saying any
I'm doing
team
these daily lines, and I can't say Lakers or Clippers.
Right.
So I have to say the team in L.A. or the other team in L.A.
Right.
Or,
it's so.
What if people don't understand who I'm even talking about? The other team in L.A.
The other, right? Well, wait, what's the other? Yeah, it's annoying. All right. At Conn Sports on Twitter, ConcreteLocks.com, the Green Turtle. When are you going to be there this week?
I'm waiting to find out my schedule this week. I do know as far as next week for the tournament, I'll be Thursday, Saturday, Canton, Friday, Sunday. I'll be at Thursday, Saturday, Canton, Friday, Sunday at Towson.
All right. Happy tampering period to you. And now when I say the words tampering period, I feel like that means something. That might be a category. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you. We'll talk again next Monday, all right?
See you guys.
That's Jeremy Conn. 105.7 The Fan, Big Bad Morning Show, amongst many other places. Yes, officially, we have hit the tampering period, and presumably, what a moment! What a moment!
We made it. We made it.
We're there, guys. I feel like any second, we're gonna see. Now what? We wait. That's the way that it goes. The tampering period window has begun without us knowing anything about. Now, again, in fairness, it wouldn't be until Wednesday that the Ravens would need the cap space, because any deal that they agree to does not count against the cap until the league year begins.
Wednesday at 4 p.m.
So they would
noon today.
If they're going to sign somebody, they don't need to announce to you what they're going to do in order to clear more cap space. The Madubuike contract was enough for them to get
cap compliant.
To get cap compliant. But if they want to sign someone, they're going to have to make some other moves. They don't have to do that, but they have to do that. They have to get the cap space. All right, it's a whole thing. Well, it's boring.
No, it's tampering. It's the legal tampering period. Nothing boring about it.
What is today, Christmas? Hooray, tampering!
Might as well be.
All right. When we come back in, we will get a tidbit. We'll get tubular. Don't forget, Goose Flight still available at a lot of locations around town. Cans available at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill, as well as at Alonzo's on Cold Spring Lane, also at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook in Canton. Cans and Sixers available at Guilford Hall Brewery and Costas Inn, and Sixers and cases at the Wine Source in Hamden. $1.98 from every can sold goes to benefit the Goose Flights Foundation, the work they're doing to provide non-emergency medical transport for those in need. PressBoxOnline.com/gooseflights. Come back in for Tidbit and Tubular next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Craving that classic New York deli experience? Look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and something different. A bar! Atman's has food and drink specials every day. Now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in, grab takeout, or hang out at the bar for the next O's game. Atman's Deli, an authentic taste of Baltimore tradition since 1915. Find us at Harbor Point or visit atmansdeli.com.
Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door. Just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code GlennClark23, GLENNCLARK23. So bet with the best and use the promo code GlennClark23 this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Whether you're celebrating a special milestone, entertaining clients, or simply enjoying a night out, count on Ruth's Chris to deliver you the finest steaks, the best service, and a level of hospitality that has made Ruth's Chris one of the most revered names in steaks since 1965. Make your reservation now at ruthschris.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Discover your next favorite beer crafted in the heart of Charm City. At Guilford Hall Brewery, we believe beer should be flavorful and easy to enjoy. Our meticulously crafted lagers and ales are derived from centuries-old European brewing traditions, a staple for both the seasoned beer aficionado or a novice hophead. Experience beer styles that dare to showcase the exceptionality of simplicity. Visit our restaurant and brewery at 1611 Guilford Avenue or view our menu and tap map online at guilfordhall.com. Guilford Hall Brewery, European tradition, Baltimore charm.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now, and on the cover we look at the promise of spring for the Baltimore Orioles as Todd Karpovich and others shine the light on the team's hopes to take the next step towards championship contention and what reinforcements could still be coming. Plus, Pressbox personalities offer suggestions to David Rubenstein about stewarding the franchise. Also inside, Bo Smolka on how the Ravens defense could evolve with new coordinator Zach Orr. And we meet lacrosse players from the men's and women's programs across the state. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores. And you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR. Don't forget countysports.zone. That's your home for everything related to championship week in the state high school basketball tournament. Go get scores, updates, brackets, all of it, schedules. Want to know what time what game is as we get to College Park this weekend. You can find it all. countysports.zone, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Let's look, we're all just waiting to find out what's going to happen, so we'll continue to wait to find out what's going to happen, and we'll, of course, be talking about it, whatever might occur tomorrow on GCR. If the Ravens do something significant,
Thought
then
we're going to do a special show, tampering period, GCR.
Yeah,
we're
live.
going till 4 o'clock.
We're just going to watch ProFootballTalk.com and see what happens. Nah, I'm good.
Just going to keep refreshing you.
Look, if the Ravens do something significant, then, well, some group of us will probably hop back on and do a live reaction video at that point. But, that's if they do something. Like, if they sign Derrick Henry, we'll do something. And at that point on the Pressbox's social channels, that's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. There wasn't a whole lot significant said at the Justin Madubuike press conference this morning. He's happy to be there. Sure, that makes sense. I got nothing else. All right, let's go ahead and get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by Superbook. Again, Towson tonight, 6-point dogs against Charleston in the CAA semifinals. If you feel like there is a magical run that is ahead of the Tigers, then get in on that right now. Download the Superbook app. Go to superbook.com. Use the code GlennClark23. When you sign up, you'll receive up to $250 in a same-day first bet match. Win or lose, superbook.com, or download the Superbook app. And as I pointed out, Rookie of the Year odds are now up at Superbook. So you want to get a Jackson Holiday future, it's plus 275. You want to go even bolder than that, Colton Cowser, plus 3,000. Kobe Mayo, plus 6,000. Heston Kjerstad, plus 6,000.
What am I getting Evan Carter at?
Evan Carter, plus 325. Second favorite for Evan Carter. Wyatt Langford at plus 450 after that. So you want to get on one of those, go to superbook.com, download the Superbook app, and use that code GlennClark23. Up to $250 in that same-day first bet match, win or lose.
The Terp women, of course, did knock off Ohio State.
Yeah, couldn't keep it going
on Friday.
On Saturday, but that is enough. They're going to be in the field. They will be the one, for sure, team locally. Hopefully there'll be others that join them, but the one local team for sure. The Loyola women actually they're the favorite
Towson
going to the
women,
Patriot League tournament.
Towson women aren't the favorite, but they're always competitive in this.
They have been. They have a history of being competitive, yes.
That 21-point win, it was 82-61 over, at the time, ranked number 4 in the country, Ohio State. It is the largest margin of victory this millennium by an unranked team in a conference tournament against a team ranked in the top 5, men's or women's. So
how about that?
21-point
How
win.
about that?
Pretty big. All right, and then after Friday, 2024, is now officially going to be yet another year where there are still 3 teams yet to never, let me make sure, I'm wording it right, yet to never make a NCAA tournament while being eligible for every single tournament.
Since it started?
Since it started. There are 3 teams that have never
Well,
made
that means they had to have already been eliminated from their conference tournament.
At this point, yes.
What do you mean at this point?
Well, when I'm reading this, yes.
So they have to all be mid. We're talking about mid to low majors.
Correct.
Then. And that's the difficult part is...
There were 4 up until 6 years ago now, 7 years ago now.
Oh.
And one of them was that one was a high major.
That was who was that?
That was, should I make you guess it, or should I just...
I don't remember.
2017, Northwestern made it.
That was their first?
That was their first ever.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
After being eligible for every tournament ever.
Anybody from the Ivy League?
No, not the Ivy League.
Because they only put 4 teams in their tournament.
Yeah.
All right, so it's somebody from the Sun Belt.
Not the Sun Belt.
This is the problem is you got to figure out somebody that's been around and is playing D1. When was the first NCAA tournament?
Was it 1940 or 1939?
So it's got to be a program that's been around that long.
It's true.
This is brutal. This stinks.
This is a great one.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
this
is.
one sucks.
Fine, name all the 30 teams that have never made the tournament.
All right, is it a Patriot League school? Those programs
yes,
have been
there's
around.
one
There's
Patriot
a Patriot League school. A Patriot League school that's never made an NCAA tournament. American.
Not American.
Lafayette.
Not Lafayette. I think they made it within the past decade. I think Lafayette did.
Did they?
I don't know if that was their first time though. But
I know Lehigh has. I know Bucknell has.
Yeah, you're just gonna name them all.
Well, it's what I had to do. Colgate had to make one, right?
Colgate's made many.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Holy Cross has definitely made one.
Holy Cross has made one.
BU's made one.
Yeah. Well, so either hold on. Let me pull up the list of teams that have never made. The teams that have made or have been.
Is it
been
Army?
Eligible. It is Army.
Army's never made an NCAA tournament.
And I believe they're the only Patriot League. Yeah, they're the only active Patriot
Wow.
team
Wow.
So in I don't know a little. Oh, so in 1968 they did qualify for the tournament, but Coach Bob Knight thought that they'd have a better shot in the NIT.
So they went to the NIT.
So they turned down the invite. They lost the first game in the NIT.
Oh, I mean, it's not that. Again, I tried explaining that after Roselle's
yeah.
passing. Like, there are people that it's hard for them to understand the significance of, like, when Maryland won the NIT, but it was just a different time, a different era. Is there an America East program in there?
No.
Is there God, who played their tournaments? Is it a Missouri Valley program?
No, not an MVC. Both of these are in there. One of the conferences has a final tonight, I think. Yeah, final tonight, and the other one's finals tomorrow night. I don't know if that's probably not going to help you. That's going to confuse you more.
Tomorrow night is the West Coast Conference.
Correct.
Right? Is it a West Coast Conference?
No, it's not a West Coast.
Okay.
They're both East Coast, both these schools.
Is it a CAA program?
There is a CAA program.
The CAA program has been around the entire time and has never made an NCAA tournament.
Yes. In fact, their season ended on Friday.
I was going to say, they had to lose in the first round, which requires me to remember who was playing in the first round. It is Drexel.
Not Drexel. Drexel lost in the quarters yesterday. That was a great game, apparently.
Was it?
Too bad no one got to see it.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be real nice if you could watch the games.
Lost to Stony Brook.
Is it Elon?
Not Elon.
Is it?
I believe Elon has not made the tournament, but they've not been eligible for every.
Campbell.
Not Campbell.
A&T?
Not A&T.
Jesus Christ.
You named all 4 teams that played on Friday.
Oh, it's William and Mary.
William and Mary.
Oh, damn it. I actually knew that because they played in the final one year in Baltimore, and it was a big story.
That is how I got this. Spiro dropped this tidbit on the broadcast, right?
Yeah.
One of the days.
They were gonna play, I think they played Northeastern or maybe Delaware. I don't remember. They played when the tournament was in Baltimore one year. William and Mary
was that 20
made the final.
Because they had a
and
good
it was
team.
a big storyline about them finally getting in, and it just didn't happen. All right, and there's one more?
Army, William & Mary, and one more.
One more. Is it who else has a tournament final tonight? I do remember it. Well, the Sun Belt is tonight, right?
Sun Belt is tonight, but it's not the Sun Belt.
Son of a bitch. The Horizon League is
not
tonight?
The Horizons are in their semis tonight, actually.
Semis are tonight.
Not a Horizon League.
I I prepared tubular and everything. The Southern Conference is tonight?
Yes, the SoCon.
Now that requires me to remember who's in the
SoCon.
Southern Conference.
SoCon. In fact, they are the only team in the SoCon to not have made the tournament.
Southern Conference, you say?
Yes.
Wofford.
Not Wofford.
Are they in the Southern Conference?
I want to say they probably were at some point. What conference are they? Yeah, I think there's some.
All right.
SoCon.
I like that. It's not Chattanooga.
Let's go with yes. No, not Chattanooga.
Because I think I remember them being in the tournament. I don't know if they're in the Southern Conference or not. Is VMI in the Southern Conference?
I think they are, but it is not them.
It's not them.
Kind of right category of school, you know.
Greensboro, are they in the Southern Conference?
They are, but not Greensboro.
Asheville's not in the Southern Conference, are they? Are they in the Southern Conference?
What Big South? I get the Big South and the SoCon.
Yeah, that's
confused.
tough.
I think they're Big South.
Western Carolina.
Not Western Carolina.
Citadel.
The Citadel.
Citadel
is the correct answer.
Hey!
The Citadel Army and William and Mary.
How about that? That's where somebody who left Maryland. Is that where Chuck Drizel ended up? Is that where Lefty's son was the coach at one point? Was it the Citadel? Do I remember that correctly? I'm pretty sure Chuck ended up coaching at the Citadel. Lefty's son, Lefty Drizel's son, Chuck Drizel, was a coach. He was an assistant at Maryland. And I'm pretty sure under Gary,
that is correct. From 2010
I believe he
to
went
2015.
to the Citadel. Citadel. Look at me. Look at your boy.
Well done. Well done. My friend's mom went to the Citadel.
How about that?
Yeah.
Let's name other Citadel things.
They had a nice press box at their football stadium.
I got that going for them.
They had a Southern Broil.
Why were you at the?
Because Towson played them.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that does make sense. Then. That does make sense. Very good.
Oh my gosh, that was an interesting game.
They're
like a military school, so they run the ball.
Yeah,
35 times. They passed it like 4 times, but all 4 were I think they had like 3 touchdowns, and all 3 were passing touchdowns.
That's rough.
They did. Towson won though.
Okay. All right. Got that going for him. Tubular. Congratulations to Towson on that game that they won.
That was 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
5 years ago. Hooray! Tubular is brought to you by Atman's. If you're craving that classic New York deli experience, look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and they've got something different. They've got a bar at this location. Atman's Harbor Point. Go to atmansdeli.com for daily specials.
Tom Flacco leading to a win. Yeah.
The legend, Tom Flacco. All right, here's what's coming up tonight, as we mentioned.
Shane Simpson team. Oh, man.
Shane Simpson was a hell of a player. Was Shane Leatherberry on that team?
He was. Oh, yeah. My era of Towson football
was
players.
Yeedy Fienrat on that team?
Yeedy. Oh, causing mayhem on special teams.
Just out here naming Towson guys. Somebody suggested that as a segment for the show.
Towson football.
No, not that. Throw out something. We do this as dudes. This is something we do, where somebody brings up a topic and we don't really know what they're talking about, so we just say anything we know that's adjacent to it, right? Like somebody like, well, I was in, I was in Utah last week.
Oh,
and we'll be like,
skiing?
I'll be like, how about Karl Malone? Like, we'll just say random Utah things. Like, did you bump into some Mormons? Like, and so somebody had this suggestion. We used to do, and we stole it from Don and Mike, like King of the, if somehow it came up that you named someone named Jones and I named someone named Jones, and all of a sudden it turned into the Jones game. Like, who could name the most Joneses? And whoever named the last one would be King of the Joneses. But the suggestion that someone made is that we play the adjacent game, which is we come up with a topic like the Citadel,
like
and then everybody just names anything adjacent to the Citadel that you possibly
start talking
can.
about Towson football players, and then
like, no, that wouldn't count.
Okay,
you
so
only
that
get
Key
points.
That Key and Peele bit where they were like, they did like some Super Bowl thing, and they were like, well, the Patriots are. It was like the whoever the Patriots. Let's say the Seahawks beat the Packers in the NFC Championships. They're like they beat the Packers from Wisconsin. You know what's from Wisconsin? Cheese. Who's the owner of the Patriots?
See,
Robert Kraft.
Yeah, now you're going. This wouldn't be how the game would work.
Okay.
The game would work this way. It's funny because I thought of it yesterday. I was watching the Maryland baseball game against Charlotte.
Big win, right?
They ended up winning because they lost on Friday, but they won both games the doubleheader yesterday. So the game would work that like I would throw out like somehow the University of Charlotte or Charlotte, whatever they call themselves, would come up, and then you're just saying any fact you can that's adjacent to Charlotte, the university.
Biff
so
Poggi.
That would count, right? Like Biff Poggi would count. And then I might say they're the 49ers. And then I've gotten a point. And now it's back to you. Like it serves back to you.
Well, that's an NFL team, actually.
Can you name? No, that's not.
That doesn't count?
It's got to be related to the university, anything at all that comes off of UNCC.
Okay.
It's not continuing the circle.
They beat FAU this year.
Okay,
basketball.
that would count. And then I would say they lost to Maryland in football this year.
It's true.
Yeah, and then you would say
they played on Peacock.
I would have to count. I would be forced to count that. Although I could have taken it away from you by saying the whole thing, but I'd be forced to count that you. Actually, you would be wrong.
Was that an NBC game?
It was an NBC game.
Wow.
It was an NBC game. It was a Saturday night The entire country was given.
It was called by
Charlotte, Maryland.
Noah Eagle, though.
That would count. I would be forced to give you.
Did you see Ian's call of
no
in the Tennessee? I have it ready. The Tennessee-Kentucky game.
Well,
Dalton Connect.
Go ahead. All right.
This is from CBS.
Not whatever it wasn't the most interesting thing related to Tennessee this weekend.
Turns it over. Meshack, pedal to the metal. Nice poise. Ziegler goes cross court. Connect.
It's good. It's good. It's good. Maybe I would. Maybe Tennessee women maybe defend the wide open player beyond the arc. They just thought maybe at least get a hand in her face, make the shot somewhat difficult.
I happened to be watching it live. It was absurd. Just such a great call.
That?
Then, yeah.
That's
Tennessee
fine.
going crazy.
No, the Tennessee, South Carolina women's thing was bizarro world. Like, I get it. She's never attempted a three before, but, like, I'm not allowing anyone a wide open shot with the game on the line. Like, you got to at least get a hand up.
Shaq, you can let him take a wide open three?
Think about it. It's wide open. I don't know, man. Like, at least a hand. That's all I'm doing. At least collapse. Try to get there. Their former basketball coach was Bobby Lutz, who ended up being an assistant at the University of Maryland.
You're going to have the edge on me in all of this.
Well, in this one, maybe.
Let's see. Biff Poggi used to coach at St. Francis.
No. It's got to be a fact about Charlotte.
They're in North Carolina.
That is, you know what? Legally speaking, that's a fact. Al Wallace, the former Terp, does their football broadcasts.
Oh, really?
Yep. I only know because he's been a regular guest on this program, and I've gone to his Twitter account and seen him talking about it.
Ryan Shell used to work in Charlotte.
That does not count about the University of
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
He covered Charlotte a little bit.
No, it does not count. No, it does not.
Bet he did.
You don't even know if that's true, so you can't speak it as a fact.
Positive
no, you think it might be true.
Ryan, did you ever talk to anyone in Charlotte ever?
It does not qualify as a fact. Sorry.
Certainly a fact.
Nope, it does not qualify as a fact. It has to be a fact.
Charlotte beat other teams. They beat UTSA this year in basketball.
Did they?
Well. Yeah, for sure.
Do you know that?
Yeah, UTSA sucked. Beat Temple as well. Temple was also terrible. Temple's batting on game.
I was going to say, it's a little bit kind of a crazy story last week. Yeah. Temple, and then there was a Loyola story, too.
That's true.
I don't think the Loyola story is what everybody thinks it is. I don't think that's the case.
I mean,
whatsoever.
Is there any validity to either?
And that's the problem. I don't really know. I really don't know, but I don't want to say
Temple one seemed a little more.
It
happened twice.
Okay, but the really bizarre part is Temple stinks. Why was the line 2 points to begin with? What was going on there? What was that? I got a lot of questions about it. I still try to think of it. Oh, they play at Jerry Richardson Stadium. It's the name of the University of Charlotte football stadium.
Well, they do. They have a baseball team as well.
No, that's not a fact.
That's truly
that's
a fact.
Not a, no, that's not a.
The baseball team lost to Maryland yesterday.
Right, but we started with that, so you don't get to use it as a fact. You got to come up with something else. You have to know who they play next. I'm
sure coming up they've got another out-of-conference game. So.
Right.
They probably play on Tuesday.
You don't know.
Probably tomorrow.
Maybe. You're saying maybes now. Does not qualify.
I'm almost positive
you're not
tomorrow.
keeping the conversation going now.
I mean, yeah, I'm fumbling a little
You
bit
have
here.
to, you have to crown me the king of the Charlotte 49ers.
I mean, if that's going to help you sleep
I
tonight,
I had one more prepared.
Oh, you had one more.
I had one more
prepared.
prepared.
So this is you.
No, not like prepared. Like I know one more.
This was premeditated.
Because I can think of someone who played football at Charlotte.
All right, go.
You should know this. It's a high-level player.
I mean, as soon as you say it, I'm going to feel dumb.
Alex Highsmith.
Oh, okay.
Alex Highsmith came from Charlotte. Alex Highsmith was going to be my trump card there to win the Charlotte.
You were keeping that one in the bank just in case.
Keeping that one. I was going to
see their baseball team is playing next.
It'd be really funny if they play like on Thursday for some reason. You're like, what? Why? Or they've got a conference game this week. Like I saw that Duke was playing Wake Forest this weekend. So like,
were they like making it like a non-conference?
Oh, was it?
Like, is that a thing?
It wasn't.
Well, Mount St. Mary's was supposed to play because I was gonna help out Mount St. Mary's this weekend, and then it got rained out. But they were gonna play Niagara, and it was like a special non-conference.
A one-off non-conference just to get another game on the schedule.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they have had a series against somebody this weekend though?
They played. They were having a little tournament, and the rain like messed everything. Like
okay.
they played Howard
that's
on
a different.
Friday.
Okay, that's
So
different.
it's gonna be like Howard.
Yeah, if they have an event they needed to fill
Niagara,
out. Yeah, I can understand that a little bit more. But I thought Wake Duke was more like a.
Yeah, they play Winthrop tomorrow.
And Winthrop is definitively not in their conference.
Definitively. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because Winthrop's in the Big South.
Sure it is. Sure.
Tell me American.
I don't know whatever just happened there. Anybody sign yet? Anybody tampered yet?
I don't see anything.
We got anything going on?
There's no one tampering.
We're sitting here talking about.
Oh, DeAndre Swift.
What?
The Bears are expected to sign DeAndre Swift.
3 years, $24 million. DeAndre Swift to the Bears, according to Adam Schefter. So that's one. By the way, if DeAndre Swift's sitting at $8 million per, because a lot of us talked about like maybe DeAndre Swift could be
the cheaper end,
the lower end of the running back market. If he's getting $8 million per, smells to me like the thought that the market could set up for the Ravens with one of these top-notch running backs. That don't seem great. It sounds like the three guys at the tippy top are definitely all 8-figure guys, and it might be more like $12 to $14 million, somewhere in that range.
Good for the running backs.
That is, I think that's very. Look, man, maybe I just don't know, but I would think that $8 million for DeAndre Swift is very good news for the running back market. $8 million per, 15.3 guaranteed for DeAndre Swift.
Now, who's going to be handing him the football?
What's that?
Caleb Williams or Justin Fields? I guess it's going to be Caleb Williams.
It's going to be Caleb Williams. What are we doing? It's definitely.
You never know.
It's definitely going to be Caleb Williams. All right, let's get Tubular. Tubular is brought to you by Atman's Deli. Love Atman's. Craving that classic New York deli experience. Did I already do this?
I think. But I mean,
how did we get to
do
the
shout out
Charlotte?
I believe Ruth's Chris is.
No, I did that.
Oh, we did
earlier,
that one?
yeah.
Okay.
But I still love
All right,
Ruth's
so we're good.
Chris. I love Ruth's Chris. They're
Okay.
great too. Atman's is great. All these people are wonderful. Go to Atmans.com, atmansdeli.com for daily specials from the new Atman's in Harbor Point. Just started having like deja vu. I'm like, I said that, right? I started doing Tubular and
then I cut
how
you
did we
off.
get to Charlotte? I'm not really sure how that part happened. We were talking about facts.
The Citadel and
the Citadel
is
is
really what
somehow how we got here. I don't know. It was very weird.
The Citadel plays in a neighboring state of Charlotte.
That's not.
That would count.
That's no.
That would-
that's
I
no.
mean, it's a
That
fact.
is not. It's a fact, but it's not actually related to Charlotte. No, that would not qualify. It would not count for this game.
Charlotte plays Citadel at some point.
We can do this again with something. It doesn't have to be a college. It can be anything. It could be like bananas. Like Chiquita makes bananas. Some people put. All right, never mind. I'm not going to do that. CA tournament
I
tonight.
guess you win that one, yeah.
House in Charleston, 6 o'clock on CBS Sports Network.
We know you're the king of bananas.
Yeah, that's what everybody calls me. Followed by Stony Brook and Hofstra at 8:30. Orioles are on TV this afternoon, despite the fact that they're on the road. So go figure. They take on the Yankees at 1 o'clock on Masson.
Oh.
I don't get it. Julio Teheran and Will Warren. I don't know what lineup are they sending. That's the other thing too. Like this is the game they're putting. Normally on the road you send your B lineup. So
I mean, both lineups they had yesterday looked pretty good.
But it is the nice thing about having real players.
Cole Irvin starting Wednesday.
Yes, we know Julio Teheran starting today. What's the lineup today?
Basayo is on the. He's not starting.
We don't have a lineup.
Teheran starting.
Yeah, I got that part. I've said that 3 times.
Jackson Holiday leading off.
Yes.
Followed by Colton Wong, who will be replacing him on the opening day roster. It sounds like.
Just run through the lineup.
Santander, Stowers, Kerstad, Nick Matan.
Sure.
Tyler Nevin, Johnson. What's his first name? the outfielder Johnson, who had he had a big he had a walk off the other couple weeks ago.
You say so. I don't
Johnson
know
something.
Johnson and Johnson. I really have no idea who you're talking about.
Well, what's I say?
Seth Johnson's running around in the outfield
No,
for some
it's not,
reason.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, 1 o'clock today. Will Warren for the Yankees. As Griffin mentioned, some tournament tickets that will be punched tonight. The Southern Conference, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Samford and East Tennessee State. Sun Belt at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Arkansas State at Arkansas State versus James Madison. Monumental Capitals Jets 7:30. NHL Network Jets Rangers at 7. NBA TV Warriors Spurs at 8. Celtics Blazers at 10:30.
Daniel Johnson.
Oh yeah, I do know who Daniel Johnson is. Never mind. I'm sorry. Apologies to the Johnson family and to Johnson & Johnson and to Seth Johnson. Do you want to play King of the Johnsons? That's what they called me in high school.
Shoot, that's not even a Johnson. I was going to say Daryl Johnston.
You would be out on the first Johnson.
Chad Johnson.
Randy Johnson. Oh, this ain't great.
Yeah, I know it isn't. It isn't great.
You get 5 seconds, by the way.
Another Johnson here? Maybe. I mean, you said
you're
3
out.
off the
Sorry,
bat.
I'm the king of the Johnsons. You ever heard of Calvin Johnson?
Yeah, Calvin Johnson.
Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson.
Andre Johnson. I'm just doing football Johnsons, and I would have kicked your ass. It was an embarrassing performance. I'm not sure you're cut out. Not sure you're cut out for this game, Griffin. Not sure that you're cut out.
You can be king of the today for this week.
I am. I'm the king of the Johnsons, just like I was in high school.
Series.
Tennis Channel, more coverage from Indian Wells today at 2 o'clock. USA Network, Chelsea and Newcastle United at 4. Then WWE Raw tonight at 8. MLB Network, Pirates, Red Sox at 1. Dodgers, Guardians at 4. Non-sports.
Bachelor. The Rock will be on with Kimmel tonight.
Sure.
Along with Justin Timberlake. MasterChef Junior on Fox. There's not a whole lot.
I did not watch the Academy Awards. I watched I'm Just Ken. I saw Al Pacino bizarrely announcing that Oppenheimer had won. Like,
he kind of ran up there. Oppenheimer won.
Here we go, and it's Oppenheimer. It's wonderful, actually. And then somebody showed me the John Cena bit where he walked out to the stage naked or whatever.
Really?
It was for he was giving out the award for costume design. And the bit was like,
no costume.
You know, costume design is very important. It was not bad. It was not the worst bit they've ever done. Anyway, anything else?
Jeez, he was naked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't really. He had somebody found it backstage. They put a patch. That's what they did. They put a patch over his penis and his butt crack. He wasn't wearing a thong. It was patches. Anything else?
There was something else I thought. Ewan McGregor is going to be on Fallon because he's in a show called A Gentleman in Moscow. Comes out at the end of the month.
Okay.
Looks pretty good. He plays like a Russian guy who gets sentenced to prison. But his prison is like this grand hotel for some reason.
Sounds nice.
So he can't leave the hotel.
All right. Very good.
Problem is though, no one's gonna be able to watch it because it's on Paramount Plus with Showtime.
Nope. That'll be for nobody. That'll be for the exclusive group and nobody.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, can we go?
Yeah,
I think. Jesus. Everything else, GlennClarkRadio.com. Thanks to Jeshaun Jones. Thanks to Kerry Watson. Thanks to Jeremy Conn. We'll get it up in the greatest hits section of the.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Anything tomorrow?
Stuff and things.
Okay.
Patrick Stevens. And
Yeah. Stuff and things. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Ruth's Chris, Live Casino and Hotel, Atman's Deli, AJ Michaels, Guilford Hall Brewery, Royal Farms, Costa Sin, Superbook Sports, Glory Days Grill, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin _Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Towson. Duke sucks.